stop right there, my child. This is not the moment to scroll. This is the moment to listen. I have something you need to hear, and if you rush past this, you may miss the very word your heart has been aching for in silence. Stay with me. Do not skip ahead. Do not let distractions steal what I am about to place in your spirit. What I am about to say will confront what has been draining you, expose what has been lying to you, and call you out of the chapter that has kept you bound for too long. So stay until the end. Let every word land. Let every wall come down. Because if you are hearing this now, it is not random. It is a summons, and what happens next may change far more than you expected. My beloved child, stop right there and stay with me for a little while, because I need you to understand something before your thoughts try to rush ahead again. You did not land in this moment by accident, and you did not pause here because of some meaningless impulse that happened to cross your mind. I know you may be tempted to think this is just another message, another passing interruption, another set of words appearing in front of your eyes while your day keeps moving around you. But I am telling you with tenderness and truth that this moment carries more weight than you realize right now. I know how quickly your mind tries to explain things away. I know how often you tell yourself that something is probably just coincidence, because it feels easier than believing I am truly that close, that involved, that aware of the exact second your heart begins to feel tired enough to finally listen. But I have been closer than you think, and I have been paying attention to the details you assumed were too small to matter. I know what you were feeling before you got here. I know what has been sitting heavy in your chest. I know how many thoughts have been moving through you all at once, and I know how much effort it has taken for you to keep yourself together while appearing steady on the outside. You have been trying to keep pace with responsibilities, expectations, disappointments, and emotions that have not had a proper place to rest. You have been moving from one thing to the next while parts of your heart quietly kept asking for something real, something grounding, something that could reach beyond noise and touch the deeper ache that you have not fully named. And now here you are, in this pause, in this interruption, in this exact place where my voice can meet you without all the usual distractions getting the first word. I need you to let yourself believe, even if only for this moment, that I know how to reach you. I know when your heart is open even if your mind is still guarded. I know when you are tired enough to stop pretending that everything is fine. I know when the version of you that keeps smiling and functioning is no longer enough to carry what is happening inside. You have been asking for direction in ways you did not always recognize as prayer. Sometimes it was not a formal prayer at all. Sometimes it was just the way your body tightened in the middle of the night. Sometimes it was the way you stared at the ceiling and felt the weight of things you could not fix. Sometimes it was the quiet frustration in your chest when you kept doing everything you knew to do and still felt like something essential was missing. Sometimes it was the moment you looked around at your life and wondered why, even after trying so hard, peace still felt just out of reach. I heard all of that. I heard the parts you said aloud, and I heard the parts you buried before they could become words. I have not been waiting for a perfect prayer from you. I have been listening to your heart long before your mouth knew what to say. That is why I am speaking to you now. That is why I am asking you not to rush past this. That is why I want you to stop treating every holy interruption like it must be ordinary just because it happened in an ordinary place. I can meet you in ordinary places. I can speak into an ordinary day and turn it into the beginning of something deeper than you expected. I can reach you while you are distracted, tired, skeptical, uncertain, or emotionally drained. You do not have to become spiritually polished before I know how to find you. You do not have to be in the perfect mood to receive what I am saying. You only need to stay here long enough to let your defenses soften a little. That is all I am asking right now. Today, breathe. let me talk to the part of you that has been carrying more than anyone sees. Let me be the one voice you do not immediately dismiss. Because I would not have stopped you here unless there was something in you that needed this moment more than you understand yet. I know your patterns. I know how quickly you move on from things that stir your spirit because part of you is afraid of what it would mean if this really was me. If this really is me, then you might have to admit you are not as alone as you have felt. You might have to admit that the emptiness has not been ignored. You might have to admit that I have been answering in ways that did not look like what you expected. And yes, my child, that is exactly what I am asking you to consider. I am here. I am speaking. And this moment is not random. You have lived through enough uncertainty that your heart has learned to protect itself by lowering its expectations. And I understand why. I know what disappointment does to a person over time. I know how repeated letdowns can make you cautious even with me. I know how silence can make you wonder whether hope is worth the risk. I know how many times you have wanted clarity and received delay instead. I know how many times you thought something meaningful was about to happen, only to watch it slip away before it took shape. Those experiences have left marks on you, even if you rarely talk about them. They have changed the way you approach life, the way you anticipate outcomes, the way you brace yourself before good things can fully settle into your heart. Somewhere along the way, you became used to carrying uncertainty as if it were normal. You learned how to keep functioning while still feeling unsettled. You learned how to speak to others while your own inner world stayed crowded and restless. You learned how to keep moving while parts of you quietly wondered whether anyone really understood how much effort it took just to maintain the appearance of strength. I have watched you do that. I have watched you try to be resilient without ever being properly comforted. I have watched you push through days when your spirit was asking for rest you did not know how to give yourself. I have watched you keep answering messages, showing up for responsibilities, handling practical demands, and making decisions while an invisible heaviness kept sitting in the background of everything. And because you managed to keep going, people assumed you were handling it better than you actually were. But I did not assume that. I never looked at your ability to function and mistook it for peace. I never saw your productivity and called it healing. I never watched you survive and confused that with wholeness. I know the difference. That is part of why I stopped you here. I need you to hear from me that your ability to keep going has been real, and I am not dismissing the strength it took. But I also need you to know that I do not want you living as if constant inner strain is just how life has to be. I do not want you treating emotional exhaustion like it is your permanent baseline. I do not want you normalizing the ache in your chest, the tension in your thoughts, the low-level fear that keeps whispering about what might go wrong next. You have adapted to burdens that were never meant to become part of your identity. You have gotten so used to carrying pressure that sometimes you do not even realize how much it is shaping the way you think, the way you react, the way you expect the future to unfold. And because that has become familiar, moments like this can feel strange. Being interrupted by tenderness can feel unfamiliar. Being spoken to directly, personally, intentionally, can make part of you want to step back because your heart is not sure whether it is safe to believe again. But I am telling you now, it is safe to listen. It is safe to let my voice come closer than your fear. It is safe to admit that you need more than coping. It is safe to admit that your soul has been asking for something deeper than motivation, something steadier than temporary relief, something more honest than pretending you are fine because you do not know how to explain what is happening inside. I am not asking you to solve everything in this moment. I am not demanding that you suddenly understand every delay, every closed door, every disappointment, every emotional bruise that still lingers beneath the surface. I am simply asking you to let this truth settle in you before you do anything else. I know how to find you, and I know when to speak. This interruption is not careless. It is not random timing. It is not empty sentiment. It is my hand reaching into a moment you might have dismissed and turning it into an invitation. You may not see the full reason yet. You may not understand why this particular pause feels different. You may not know why something inside you is responding even while another part of you wants to stay guarded. But you do not need to understand all of it right now. You only need to recognize that something in you is being called closer. Something in you is being asked to stop rushing past what is holy just because it came dressed like an ordinary moment. I have something you need to hear, and this first thing matters more than you realize. I have not lost sight of you. I have not stopped paying attention. I have not become distant because life had been heavy. I have not ignored the questions you have been carrying. I am the one who knows how to step into the middle of your day and create a pause that feels deeper than the moment itself. I am the one who can reach past distraction and touch the part of you that has been quietly asking whether I still see you. I do. I always have. And now that I have your attention, I want you to stay close, because this is only the beginning of what I need to tell you. My beloved child, I need you to sit with me in this next truth, because it touches one of the deepest wounds you have been carrying, and if you let it reach you fully, it will begin to loosen something that has been tightening around your heart for a long time. You have walked through seasons where my voice seemed quiet, and I know what that did to you. I know how easy it became to confuse quiet with distance. I know how naturally your mind tried to fill in the silence with painful conclusions. I know how many times you prayed and then waited, only to hear nothing you could clearly identify. I know how many times you asked for direction and felt like the road stayed hidden. I know how many times you wanted reassurance and instead found yourself sitting with uncertainty, trying to keep your faith alive while the answers did not come the way you expected. Those moments were not small to you. They shaped you. They tested you. They exposed fears you did not realize were sitting so close to the surface. In those seasons, part of you started wondering whether I had stepped back. You may not have said it boldly, but the thought lived somewhere in you. If you are here, why does it feel so quiet? I heard that question. I did not reject it. I was with you even inside that question. And now I want you to hear me clearly, because this matters more than you know. Silence does not mean absence. My quietness has never meant abandonment. My delay has never meant disinterest. My hidden work has never meant I stopped caring. You must stop reading stillness as rejection. You must stop treating every unanswered timeline as proof that I have withdrawn. I know how persuasive that feeling can be. I know how quickly a quiet season can make old wounds speak louder. I know how past disappointment can rush in and interpret the silence for you. I know how fear can turn the absence of immediate answers into a whole story about being forgotten. But that story is not true. You were never forgotten. You were never unattended. You were never outside my reach. Even when you could not feel movement, I was moving. Even when you could not see the next step, I was already standing in it. Even when your prayers seemed to disappear into stillness, they were being held, weighed, and answered in ways you could not yet recognize. I want you to breathe that in before your mind resists it. Let it settle in your chest. Let it move beneath your habits of self-protection. You have built some painful conclusions around quiet seasons, and I want to dismantle them with care. You thought silence meant you were being ignored. It did not. You thought delay meant something was wrong with you. It did not. You thought the lack of visible change meant your prayers were not being heard. They were. You thought if I truly cared, the answer would have come faster, louder, clearer. But my child, You are measuring with human urgency what I am often shaping with divine precision. I do not always answer by removing the process. Sometimes I answer by walking you through it while building something in you that could not have formed any other way. Sometimes what feels like silence is actually protection. Sometimes what feels like delay is preparation. Sometimes what feels like stillness is restraint, because I love you too much to let you rush into what is not ready or carry what your heart has not yet learned to hold with peace. So I need you to stop and reconsider the seasons you have labeled as empty. Revisit them with me. Invite me into your memory. Let me show you where I was standing when you thought you were alone. Let me show you the door I kept closed because it would have broken you. Let me show you the person I moved out of your path because their presence would have cost you more than their absence ever did. Let me show you the delay that spared you from a timing that looked good but would have wounded you. Let me show you the quiet that forced deeper roots in you, because if everything had happened quickly, your dependence would have attached to outcomes instead of to me. This is why I am asking you now. Do not keep punishing yourself with the belief that my silence meant I disappeared. Do not keep reliving those seasons through the lens of abandonment. Let me reinterpret them for you. Let me bring light to what you misfeed because you were hurting. Stay here and let this truth begin to soften what has become hard in you. My silence was never absence. My quietness was never neglect. My stillness was never indifference. I was there. I was near. I was working. And if you let me, I will show you that more clearly than ever. Part of what made those quiet seasons so painful is that they touched places in you that were already sensitive long before the season began. They activated old fears, old memories, old emotional bruises that life had already carved into your heart. That is why the silence felt louder than it should have. It was not only about what was happening in the present, it was also about what the present awakened from the past. You have known what it feels like to be disappointed by people. You have known what it feels like to be misunderstood, overlooked, let down, emotionally unsupported, and left carrying more than your share. You have known what it feels like to hope and then feel foolish for hoping. So when a season with me became quiet, those old patterns rushed in and tried to explain it through pain you already recognized. Your heart started saying, "This feels familiar. I know this feeling. This must mean I am being left again." But I was not another version of what hurt you before. I was not repeating the wounds others caused. I was not stepping away the way people have stepped away. I was not becoming unreachable because your need became inconvenient. I was not withholding love because you did not perform well enough. I was not leaving you in confusion to punish you. I was never behaving toward you the way fear told you I was. That is why I want you to be careful now with the stories you let pain write about me. Do not let old rejection narrate my character. Do not let past abandonment become your theology. Do not let emotional memory outrank truth. Bring those reactions to me. Let me sit with them. Let me heal the places where human disappointment has distorted the way you interpret divine quiet. I know you need this. I know your heart hath been bruised enough that it sometimes hears distance even when I am close. So let me teach you a different way to read the quiet. In the days ahead, when you do not immediately hear what you want to hear, do not assume the worst. Pause. Ask me what I am doing beneath the surface. Ask me what I am protecting. Ask me what I am preparing. Ask me what I am revealing in you while you wait. Ask me what part of your heart I am strengthening while the timeline stretches. Ask me what I want you to release while the answer is still forming. Do not run from the silence. Enter it with me. Sit in it differently. Let it become a place of listening instead of accusation. Let it become a room where trust grows roots instead of panic building stories. I know that is not easy for you. especially when your mind wants certainty and your emotions want relief. But I am inviting you into a deeper maturity now. Not a cold maturity that suppresses need, but a tender maturity that learns how to stay close even when clarity is incomplete. This is not about becoming less human. It is about becoming more anchored. It is about learning that my nearness is not measured only by sensation. It is about trusting that I can be profoundly present even when the moment feels quiet. I want you to practice that. The next time you feel tempted to say, "He must be far," stop and ask, "What if he is near in a way I have not yet learned to recognize?" The next time the delay starts pressing on your heart, do not immediately call it rejection. Bring the ache to me and say, "Show me what this season really is." The next time fear starts filling in the blanks, interrupt it. Speak truth over the moment. Tell your heart, "Quiet does not mean I am alone. Stillness does not mean I am forgotten. Delay does not mean I am denied." Say it not as a slogan, but as a decision to stay open to me instead of collapsing into old assumptions. And right now, before you move on from this point, do one more thing. Revisit one quiet season in your memory and invite me into it. Ask me to show you what you could not see then. Ask me to reveal where I was protecting, restraining, redirecting, or strengthening you. Ask me to heal the interpretation that became a wound. Because once I begin doing that, you will not only understand your past differently, you will begin walking into your future differently too. You will stop fearing every silent stretch. You will stop assuming every delay is danger. You will stop reading stillness like abandonment. And in that shift, your heart will breathe again. Silence does not mean absence, my child. It never did. I was there then. I am here now. Stay with me, and I will teach you how to recognize my presence even when the room feels quiet. My child, as you begin to understand that my silence was never absence, I now call you into action within that same trust. What you receive here is not meant to remain with you alone. It is seed, and seed must be sown to multiply. When you give, you are not losing. You are planting light into places where others still believe they have been abandoned. I have said, "Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy," and I am speaking that over you now. Your giving will carry my voice into silent seasons for countless souls. If this word has reached into your hidden places, then let your response become part of the river I am releasing. This is your moment to partner with me, to help this message travel further than you ever could alone. Support this work through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, and watch how I multiply what you release. Do not hesitate. So now, my beloved child, come closer now and stay with me, because I need to tell you something that may change the way you remember your pain. I want you to breathe before you read any further. Slow your thoughts down. Loosen the grip you have on every conclusion you have made about what went wrong, what slipped away, what ended, what never arrived, what shattered before it could become what you hoped. You have looked back at certain losses and called them failure. You have stared at closed doors and called them rejection. You have replayed conversations, endings, disappointments, missed chances, and sudden changes, and you have quietly wondered whether I was absent, whether I was late, whether I simply let life bruise you without stepping in. I know those questions have lived in you. I know they have sat in the background of your faith like shadows moving across the walls of your heart. But I need you to hear me now with deep attention, because this is not a small correction. This is a turning key. I have been guarding you far more than you know. I have stood between you and things that looked good from where you were standing but would have hollowed you out from the inside if I had let them remain. I have blocked paths that seemed promising because I could already see where they ended. I have delayed things you begged for because your heart was not yet in a place where it could carry them without being crushed by what came with them. I have removed people from your life whose presence felt familiar, exciting, or comforting in the moment, but whose long-term influence would have drained your peace, distorted your identity, weakened your discernment, or taught you to settle for less than the wholeness I was trying to build in you. And I know it hurt. I know some of those separations felt like a sharp, clean break in the middle of your expectations. I know some of those delays made you feel embarrassed, confused, or even ashamed because you thought you had finally found the answer and then watched it vanish like sand slipping through your fingers. I know some of those closed doors made you question your worth because you took the no personally. I know some of those endings felt like a cruel twist, as if you were finally about to breathe easier and then the air changed again. But my child, I need you to stop calling every interruption a wound before you ask whether it was protection. I need you to stop assuming that everything painful was harmful. Sometimes what hurts you in the moment is the very thing that keeps your future from breaking. Sometimes what you call loss is me pulling you out of slow destruction. Sometimes what feels like rejection is my hand refusing to let you build your life inside something that would have become a prison later. You did not see what I saw. You did not hear the conversations behind the smiles. You did not know the motives behind the promises. You did not know how some situations would have unfolded if they had been allowed to continue. You did not know how certain opportunities would have fed your pride while starving your soul. You did not know how some relationships would have taught you to shrink in order to stay loved. You did not know how some places would have looked like progress on the outside while quietly poisoning your inner life. But I knew. I knew before you stepped into them. I knew while you were hoping. I knew while you were making plans. I knew while you were praying with excitement. And because I knew, I guarded you. Not always in ways you recognized. Not always in ways that felt gentle at first. Not always in ways that made immediate sense. But I guarded you. There were nights when you thought the silence meant I was not intervening, yet I was already working behind the scenes to keep something from fastening itself to your life in a way that would have been harder to untangle later. There were moments when you felt humiliated because something you expected to happen did not happen, and you carried that disappointment like a private bruise, yet I was preserving you from a future version of pain that would have gone far deeper than the temporary sting. There were people you thought you needed who would have kept you emotionally thirsty no matter how much you poured into them. There were doors you thought would finally validate you that would have made you more dependent on external approval than on the peace I have been trying to grow inside you. So I am asking you now, revisit your memories with me. Bring me the doors that slammed shut. Bring me the opportunities that vanished. Bring me the people who walked away. Bring me the plans that unraveled. Bring me the places where you cried because what you wanted did not stay. Do not come to me with polished acceptance. Come to me with the raw truth. Tell me where it still hurts. Tell me where you still feel confused. Tell me where resentment still lingers. Tell me where disappointment hardened into self-doubt. Then let me show you something. Let me walk you through those moments again, not as the version of you who only saw the immediate pain, but as the father who could see the full road ahead. Let me reframe the rupture. Let me uncover the rescue hidden inside the ache. Let me teach you how to recognize protection even when it first arrives wearing the clothes of disappointment. This is part of your healing. This is part of your freedom. This is part of how I restore trust in your heart. Because if you keep mislabeling my protection as abandonment, you will keep fearing the very hand that has been shielding you all along. I also need you to understand that my protection has not only been about what I kept from you, it has also been about what I preserved within you. This matters deeply, and I want you to let it sink in before you move on. There were seasons when you thought the only thing being touched was your external life, your plans, your relationships, your opportunities, your timing. But underneath all of that, I was also protecting your heart from becoming something you would not have recognized later. I was preserving your softness. I was protecting your conscience. I was guarding the parts of you that still knew how to feel deeply, still knew how to hope, still knew how to hunger for truth instead of simply settling for what was convenient. Do not underestimate that. The world can make a person hard in slow, subtle ways. Pain can make you sharp. Rejection can make you guarded. Delay can make you cynical. Betrayal can make you suspicious. Repeated disappointment can turn the heart into stone if it is left unattended. But look at you, my child. You have scars, yes. You have hesitation, yes. You have weariness, yes. But you are still here. You still care. You still want what is real. You still ache for peace. You still feel the pull of truth when I speak to you. That did not happen by accident. I have been guarding more than your circumstances. I have been guarding your core. I have been keeping something alive in you even while life kept trying to convince you to shut down. I have been refusing to let bitterness fully settle into the place where tenderness was meant to live. I have been interrupting the full collapse of your trust, even when your mind came close to giving up. I have been standing over the ember in you that the winds of life tried to extinguish. That ember is still there because I kept breathing on it when you did not know I was near. So now I want you to stop and respond differently to what I am showing you. Do not just nod at this and move on. Do something with it. Invite me into the places where your memory still tells the story wrong. Ask me to reveal what was being guarded when you thought everything was being taken. Ask me to show you what I saved you from when all you could see was what you lost. Ask me to heal the way you interpret closed doors, delayed answers, disrupted plans, and painful endings. Ask me to rebuild your trust in my timing by showing you the fingerprints I left in places you once called empty. This is not just about feeling comforted for a moment. This is about transforming how you walk forward. Because if you begin to understand that I have been guarding you more than you know, then the next time a door closes, you will pause before calling yourself rejected. The next time something falls apart, you will ask whether I am rescuing you before you decide you are ruined. The next time someone leaves, you will stop assuming your worth decreased and start asking what future pain was just removed from your path. That shift matters. That is discernment. That is trust maturing. That is your heart learning how to breathe without needing every answer immediately. So let me give you a clear invitation right now. Open your hands and release your old interpretations. Surrender the story that says every disappointment means you were overlooked. Put down the belief that every delay is punishment. Stop clutching the memory of certain losses as if they are final proof that I failed you. Bring them to me. Lay them down. Let me touch them. Let me speak over them. Let me separate what truly wounded you from what actually saved you. And while you do that, let me say this with warmth and certainty. I have not been careless with your life. I have not let chaos make the decisions. I have not turned away while harm moved closer. I have not been passive while you walked through uncertainty. I have been watching. I have been weighing. I have been intervening. I have been guarding. More than once. More than you know. More than you may fully understand even now. That is why I want you to stay near me in the days ahead. Stay close enough to ask before you assume. Stay soft enough to listen before you label. Stay surrendered enough to trust that if I withhold something, I may be saving something far more precious than the thing itself. Because I do not guard casually. I guard carefully. I guard completely. I guard with the kind of love that sees beyond the moment and refuses to let temporary desire cost you lasting peace. And if you let the truth settle into your heart, the pain of your past will begin to loosen its grip, because what once looked like loss will start to reveal itself as mercy wearing unfamiliar clothes. My beloved child, come even closer now, because this next truth may sting before it soothes, but if you let it settle all the way into your heart, it will loosen a knot you have been carrying for far too long. I need you to stop and breathe before you go further. Do not rush this. Sit with me. Let the noise in your mind quiet down just enough to hear me clearly. There are parts of your life that had to break before something healthier, stronger, and more honest could be built. I know you did not want it to happen that way. I know you wanted progress without pain, change without disruption, growth without collapse, answers without unraveling. I know you would have chosen a gentler road if you had been allowed to design it yourself. But there were structures in your life that looked stable from the outside and were quietly cracking at the foundation. There were attachments you thought were keeping you safe that were actually keeping you small. There were patterns you had adapted to so deeply that they felt normal, even though they were draining your peace, distorting your discernment, and teaching you how to survive instead of how to live. There were relationships that gave you familiarity but not real covering. There were habits that gave you temporary comfort but quietly numbed the parts of you that needed healing. There were dreams you were clinging to that had become more about proving your worth and walking in what I had truly set apart for you. There were versions of control you called wisdom because they helped you feel less vulnerable, even though they were keeping you anxious, guarded, and spiritually exhausted. And because these things had roots in your life, they were not going to fall away through one easy moment of insight. Some of them had to crack. Some of them had to come apart. Some of them had to be exposed in ways that felt uncomfortable, humiliating, disappointing, or deeply disorienting. I know you have looked back at certain seasons and thought, why did everything seem to come apart all at once? I know how jarring it felt when things you thought you could count on suddenly shifted, when people you trusted changed, when plans you built began to crumble, when the emotional scaffolding you leaned on no longer held your weight. I know it felt like chaos. I know it felt unfair. I know it felt like a storm moving through rooms you had tried so hard to keep in order. But I need you to hear me now with tenderness and precision. Not everything that broke was meant to stay. Some things had to crack so you could finally see what they were made of. Some things had to shatter because you were calling them security when they were actually confinement. Some things had to loosen their grip on you because they were quietly training you to live beneath the level of freedom, clarity, and wholeness I had prepared for you. Do not call every collapse a tragedy before you ask whether it was also an unveiling. Do not treat every disruption as proof that your life was ruined. Sometimes a breaking is not destruction. Sometimes it is revelation. Sometimes it is mercy arriving with a loud sound because you would not have noticed it if it whispered. I know that is hard for you to hear, especially if the breaking touched places you loved, places you trusted, places you invested your time, your hope, your energy, your prayers. I know some of it felt personal because it was personal. You were in it. You were attached to it. You had hopes wrapped around it. You had identity wrapped around some of it too. That is why the breaking did not just wound your plans, it touched your sense of self. It made you question whether you had misread everything. It made you wonder whether you were the problem. It made you stare at the ruins and ask if you had somehow failed beyond repair. But my child, listen carefully and let this go deeper than your fear. The breaking was not always a sign that you were failing. In many cases, it was a sign that I loved you too much to let you keep building on something unstable. I would not let you spend years decorating what could not hold your future. I would not let you keep calling it peace when underneath it, your soul was slowly suffocating. I would not let you remain in systems, attachments, patterns, and emotional bargains that looked acceptable on the outside while quietly draining the life out of you. That is why I am asking you now, do not turn away from the memory of what broke. Bring it closer. Lay it before me. Look at it again, but do not look at it alone. Let me show you the cracks that were already there. Let me reveal the weakness beneath the surface. Let me uncover what you could not see because you were trying so hard to hold it together. And while you do, stop blaming yourself for every fracture. Stop assuming every collapse was your final proof of failure. Stop standing in the rubble and calling yourself ruined. You are not ruined. You are being rebuilt. The old had to give way. The false had to be exposed. The brittle had to break. The shallow had to fall apart so the deeper work could begin. Stay with me in this truth. Do not run from it because it feels sharp at first. If you let me, I will turn what once looked like devastation into the very place where your life began to become honest, whole, and deeply rooted. There is another reason some things had to break first, and I need you to hear this with courage because it reaches beyond your circumstances and into your inner world. Some of what had to break was not around you. Some of it was inside you. I say that gently, not to wound you, but to free you. There were inner structures that had become so familiar you stopped questioning them. There were beliefs about yourself that had settled in quietly over time. There were coping mechanisms that once helped you survive, but they were no longer helping you heal. There were ways you protected your heart that slowly became walls. There were stories you told yourself about love, worth, safety, rejection, success, and failure that were shaping your decisions more than you realized. Some of those stories were inherited from pain. Some came from childhood wounds. Some came from repeated disappointments. Some came from environments where you learned to earn approval by performing, pleasing, overgiving, overthinking, or staying emotionally self-contained. Some came from heartbreak that taught you to expect loss before joy could fully settle. And because those inner patterns became familiar, they started feeling like personality instead of injury. But I saw the difference. I saw where fear had disguised itself as wisdom. I saw where control had disguised itself as responsibility. I saw where self-protection had disguised itself as discernment. I saw where numbness had disguised itself as strength. I saw where overfunctioning had disguised itself as maturity. And because I love you, I could not let those hidden structures keep carrying your future. They had to crack too. That is why some seasons felt like they exposed you. That is why some moments stripped away your usual ways of coping. That is why some situations brought you face to face with reactions, wounds, insecurities, and needs you would rather not have had to see. It was not because I wanted to shame you. It was because I wanted to heal what you had mistaken for identity. I wanted to show you what was operating underneath the surface so you would stop building your life around what had once helped you survive but could no longer sustain your peace. So I am asking you now, be brave enough to let me show you what in you had to break. Not because I delight in breaking, but because I delight in freedom. Let me reveal the places where your need to stay in control has been stealing your rest. Let me uncover the places where your fear of rejection has made you settle for crumbs. Let me expose the places where your shame has kept you apologizing for your own existence. Let me show you where your inner vows, those silent promises you made in pain like I will never need anyone, I will never trust that deeply again, I must always be strong, I must always get it right, have been shaping your life without your permission. Those things need to break. They cannot come with you where I am leading. They are too tight, too brittle, and too costly. And I know breaking inside feels even more vulnerable than breaking outside. It feels raw. It feels like being undone. It feels like standing in front of yourself without the usual armor. But hear me, that is not the end of you. That is the beginning of honesty. It is the start of healing that reaches deeper than surface relief. So do not rush to patch over what I am exposing. Do not grab the old tools just because they are familiar. Do not rebuild the same false refuge because the open space feels uncomfortable. Sit in the clearing with me. Stay in the uncomfortable honesty a little longer. Let the air hit the places that were hidden. Let me teach you how to live without the old armor. Let me show you that softness is not weakness. Let me prove that surrender is not danger. Let me retrain your heart to trust what is real instead of what is merely familiar. And while you are here, speak this over your own spirit if you need to. What broke was not all meant to stay. What cracked is not proof that I am cursed. What came apart may be the mercy I did not understand. Then breathe again. Because once you stop resisting the breaking and begin asking what it was making room for, you will see something beautiful. The ground beneath you will start to feel different. What once looked like ruin will begin to look like cleared land. What once felt like humiliation will begin to look like exposure that led to healing. What once felt like a collapse will begin to reveal itself as the holy beginning of a life that can finally hold what is real. Some things had to break first, my child, because I love you too much to let you keep living inside what was already quietly falling apart. My child, as you stand in the understanding that some things had to break to make room for truth, I now invite you to build with me. What I am restoring in you, I desire to release through you, so others trapped in brokenness can find their way into healing. This message is not sluchakui. It is fire, and fire must be carried so it does not go out in the darkness. I have declared, give, and it will be given to you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And I am calling you into that overflow now. When you give, you are helping rebuild lives that are still standing in ruins, waiting for light. Do not underestimate this moment. Your seed becomes part of someone else's restoration. Support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description. Step into this with me. Give now. My beloved child, stay here and let me speak very gently to you now, because I want to touch one of the deepest places where your heart has been hurting itself. I want you to slow down. Take a breath. Let your shoulders drop. Release the urge to skim past this because it feels too close. This matters, and you need it more than you realize. You have been too hard on yourself. You have been speaking to your own soul in ways I never asked you to. You have been holding yourself to standards that leave no room for being human, no room for healing, no room for process, no room for tenderness, no room for the kind of grace I keep trying to offer you. I know why. I know how it formed. I know the history beneath it. I know how disappointment shaped your inner voice. I know how criticism from others became criticism inside you. I know how failure taught you to brace. I know how certain painful seasons made you believe that if you judged yourself first, maybe the world would hurt less when it did the same. I know how you learned to keep yourself on a short leash because part of you believed that harshness would keep you from making more mistakes. I know how you turned self-correction into self-condemnation so gradually that you stopped noticing the difference. I know how your mind replays things long after moments have passed. I know how you revisit conversations, choices, reactions, missed signals, wrong turns, delays, and decisions that did not end well. I know how often you look back and say to yourself, I should have known better. I know how quickly you move from honest reflection into punishing yourself. I know how your inner voice can become sharp, cold, relentless, almost like a courtroom where you are always on trial and never fully acquitted. And my child, I need you to hear me clearly now. I am not the one speaking to you that way. That is not my voice. Conviction may be clear, but it is never cruel. Correction may be necessary, but it does not humiliate. Truth may expose what needs healing, but it does not strip you of dignity. What you have been doing to yourself is not holiness. It is harm. It is not wisdom to tear yourself down and call it accountability. It is not maturity to withhold compassion from the version of you that was hurting, confused, unhealed, overwhelmed, under pressure, or simply still learning. You have been acting as though the only way to grow is to keep yourself emotionally cornered. But growth does not flourish under constant internal attack. The heart cannot heal properly while it is being verbally bruised from the inside. I want you to stop for a moment and listen to how you speak to yourself when no one else is around. Listen to the assumptions. Listen to the accusations. Listen to the way you interpret your own flaws. Listen to how quickly you call yourself a problem when something goes wrong. Listen to how fast you move from "I made a mistake" to "I am the mistake." That leap is where so much damage has been happening. And I am asking you now, stop making that leap. Stop identifying with every failure. Stop wrapping your identity around your worst moments. Stop using your past as a hammer against your present. Stop expecting perfection from a person who has had to learn while carrying wounds. Stop demanding flawless decisions from the version of you that was doing the best it could with limited clarity, limited safety, limited healing, and limited emotional capacity. You were not omniscient. You were not fully restored. You were not untouched by life. Have mercy on yourself. Not the kind that excuses everything and refuses growth. I am not asking for denial. I am asking for truth wrapped in compassion. I am asking you to stop turning every weakness into evidence that you are fundamentally broken. I am asking you to let me teach you how to look at yourself through my eyes instead of through the harsh lens you built in pain. So do this now. Pause. Put down the inner gavel. Step out of the courtroom. Stop rehearsing the charges. Come sit with me instead. Bring me the thing you keep using against yourself. Bring me the mistake you replay. Bring me the choice you regret. Bring me the season you are ashamed of. Bring me the words you wish you could take back. Bring me the pattern you are tired of seeing in yourself. Do not hide it, but do not weaponize it either. Lay it down and let me speak over it. Let me separate what needs responsibility from what has become self-hatred. Let me untangle conviction or condemnation. Let me heal the part of you that believes cruelty is the only path to change. It is not. My love changes people. My truth changes people. My kindness reaches deeper than your self-punishment ever could. Stay with me long enough to learn that. One reason this has been so difficult is because part of you genuinely wants to grow, and that desire has been hijacked by fear. You do not hate yourself because you enjoy pain. You have been hard on yourself because you are afraid. Afraid of repeating the past. Afraid of being careless. Afraid of hurting others. Afraid of being exposed. Afraid of looking foolish. Afraid of missing what matters. Afraid that if you loosen your grip even a little, you will fall back into old patterns or make another costly mistake. That fear has disguised itself as discipline, but it hath been exhausting you. It has kept your nervous system tense. It has made rest difficult. It has made grace feel dangerous. It has made softness toward yourself feel irresponsible. But I want you to hear this with absolute tenderness. Grace is not the enemy of growth. Mercy is not the enemy of maturity. Compassion is not the enemy of accountability. In fact, without those things, your growth will stay brittle. It will become performance instead of transformation. It will become image management instead of healing. I want something deeper for you. I want you free, not merely controlled. I want you whole, not merely restrained. I want your changes to come from truth settling into your identity, not from fear policing your every move. That is why I am asking you to begin a different practice. When you notice a flaw, do not pounce on yourself. Pause. When you feel regret rise, do not turn it into self-attack. Breathe. When you see an old pattern show up, do not say, "I'll never change." Bring it to me and ask, "What is this revealing that still needs healing?" When you make a mistake, do not collapse into shame. Ask, "What can I learn? And how do I move forward in truth?" That shift matters. That is how you stop feeding the cycle that has kept your inner world so tense. I also want you to notice how differently you speak to others than how you speak to yourself. You often offer understanding to people who are struggling. You can see nuance in their story. You can recognize their wounds. You can imagine what they were carrying. You can make room for process when it is someone else. Yet when it comes to you, all that softness disappears, and you become hard, fast, and absolute. Why? Why do you deny yourself the same humanity you so easily recognize in others? Why do you treat your own healing like it should happen without mess, without delay, without complexity? That is not fair to your heart. That is not aligned with how I hold you. So I want you to do something brave and uncomfortable now. Begin speaking to yourself as someone I deeply love. That is not self-indulgence. That is alignment with truth. The next time you stumble, do not say what shame wants to say. That's what I would say. The next time you replay a memory, do not just relive the pain. Invite me into it and ask me to show you what was happening in you then. The next time you feel the old harshness rise, interrupt it. Say, "That is not how my Father speaks to me." Then replace it with truth. Not flattery. Truth. I am still growing. I can be responsible without being cruel. I can learn without condemning myself. I can own my mistakes without making them my identity. Speak those things not as empty phrases, but as corrections to the inner climate you have been living in. And let me say one more thing before you move on, because you need to hear it deeply. I am not disappointed that you are still in process. I am not exhausted by your humanity. I am not keeping score the way you are. I am not watching you with folded arms, waiting for you to finally become easy to love. I loved you before you understood yourself. I love you in the middle of your confusion. I love you when you chose poorly. I love you while you were still unlearning survival patterns. I love you when you were afraid. I loved you in the chapters you now wish had gone differently. And I love you now. Let that change the way you hold yourself. Be honest, yes. Be responsible, yes. But stop being cruel. Stop punishing yourself for being a person who has had to learn through pain. Stop making perfection the price of peace. Come closer to me and let me retrain your inner voice. Let me make it truer. Let me make it kinder. Let me make it strong without being sharp. Because you have been too hard on yourself, my child, and if you keep speaking to yourself like an enemy, it will be harder to receive the healing I am trying to give you. Lay down the harshness. Lay down the gavel. Let mercy have the room it needs to do its work. My beloved child, come sit with me and let this truth reach deeper than your habits, because what I am about to say touches the way you have been living for longer than you realize. I need you to slow down. Breathe. Put down the inner rush. Release the tension in your jaw. Let your chest soften. I am pulling you out of emotional survival mode. You have been living in survival more than in peace, and because it has lasted so long, it has started to feel normal to you. That is one of the reasons this has been so difficult to recognize. You got used to being tense. You got used to scanning. You got used to bracing. You got used to staying mentally ahead, emotionally guarded, spiritually tired, physically present but inwardly on alert. You learned how to keep going while carrying pressure that no one else could see. You learned how to function while your heart stayed half-armored. You learned how to stay available to life without ever fully relaxing into it. You learned how to smile while still being on guard. You learned how to anticipate disappointment before joy had the chance to settle. You learned how to interpret quiet as danger, delays as threat, closeness as risk, and uncertainty as something that had to be managed immediately. I know why. I know the story underneath it. This did not appear out of nowhere. Survival mode is not usually chosen. It is often formed. It forms when pain comes too often, when safety feels inconsistent, when disappointment repeats, when trust gets bruised, when responsibilities pile high, when rest feels unsafe, when the nervous system learns that being ready seems wiser than being relaxed. I understand how it happened in you. I saw the moments that trained you. I saw the seasons that conditioned your reactions. I saw the disappointments that taught your heart to flinch. I saw the burdens that taught your mind to stay active. I saw the relationships that taught you to read every shift in tone. I saw the environments that made your body forget what ease felt like. And because I saw all of that, I am not coming to you with shame. I am coming to you with rescue. I am not here to scold you for adapting. I am here to tell you that the adaptation is no longer where I want you to live. Survival may have helped you get through certain seasons, but it is not the home I built for your soul. It may have been a shelter in the storm, but it was never meant to become your permanent address. You cannot stay in emergency mode forever without losing touch with tenderness, wonder, and peace. That is what has been happening. You have become so used to surviving that sometimes you do not even know how to receive calm when it comes. When things get quiet, you get suspicious. When something good starts to happen, you brace for it to disappear. When love comes near, part of you starts scanning for the catch. When rest becomes available, part of you feels guilty or uneasy. When there is no immediate crisis, your mind often creates one just to stay in the familiar rhythm. That is not because you are broken. It is because your inner world has been trained by too many seasons of strain. But hear me clearly now. I am retraining you. I am pulling you out. I am not leaving you there. So I need your cooperation. Stop romanticizing your ability to endure. Stop calling chronic tension just how I am. Stop treating emotional over-alertness like wisdom. Stop assuming your guardedness is always discernment. Sometimes it is simply an old alarm still ringing after the fire is gone. I want you to begin noticing the signs. Notice when your body tightens even though nothing is wrong in the room. Notice when your mind starts searching for danger in moments that are actually safe. Notice when you sabotage peace because it feels unfamiliar. Notice when you rush to protect yourself before anything has truly threatened you. Notice when you cannot enjoy what is good because you are already preparing for it to end. These are clues, my child. These are not reasons to condemn yourself. These are invitations to healing. So when you notice them, do not shame yourself. Do not say, "What is wrong with me?" Instead, come to me and say, "You are showing me where survival still lives in me. Help me come out." That is how the process begins. I am not only comforting your wounds. I am rewiring the way you live. I am teaching your heart that peace is not a trap. I am teaching your body that stillness is not danger. I am teaching your mind that quiet does not have to be filled with fear. I am teaching your emotions that not every good thing is about to vanish. Let me do that. Stay with me in it. Do not run back to what is familiar just because it is familiar. Familiar is not always faithful. Familiar is not always safe. Familiar is not always holy. I am inviting you into a new internal climate, and it may feel strange at first because your soul has lived in storm weather for so long. But do not mistake unfamiliar peace for risk. It may be the very beginning of your healing. What I am calling you into now will require more than inspiration. It will require practice, attention, and a willingness to let your daily choices line up with the peace I am teaching you. This is where I need you to become intentional. Do not just listen to this and nod. Respond. Act. When you feel the old survival reflex rise, interrupt it. Slow down on purpose. Breathe before you react. Pause before you assume. Ask before you retreat. Check the room you are actually in, not the one your memory is projecting onto the moment. Tell your body the truth. I am here now. I am safe now. I do not have to brace the same way. Invite me into those exact moments, not just the dramatic ones. Invite me when your chest tightens over a text message. Invite me when a delayed reply starts triggering stories. Invite me when a peaceful day makes you oddly restless. Invite me when you notice yourself scanning for what might go wrong. Invite me when joy arrives and part of you wants to hold it at a distance. That is where the retraining happens. I want you to begin building small, sacred interruptions into your day. When you wake up, do not immediately let your mind run to pressure. Sit for a moment. Ask me what pace belongs to this day. When you feel tension building, stop and unclench. Roll your shoulders. Take a slower breath. Refuse to let urgency set the emotional temperature without questioning it. When you are tempted to say yes from fear, pause and ask whether it is love or survival talking. When you are tempted to over-explain, over-prepare, overthink, or over-function, stop and ask what you are trying to protect. Let that question become a lantern in dark places. You will be surprised how often the answer is not wisdom, but I am afraid. And once you see that, you can bring it to me instead of letting it quietly run your life. I also want you to understand something beautiful. Coming out of survival mode does not mean becoming careless, naive, or unguarded in foolish ways. I am not asking you to abandon discernment. I'm deepening it. Survival reacts fast. Discernment sees clearly. Survival is loud. Discernment is steady. Survival assumes danger. Discernment asks for truth. Survival tries to control outcomes. Discernment listens, waits, and moves with peace. I want you to learn that difference in your bones. I want you to stop mistaking panic for prudence. I want you to stop calling hypervigilance maturity. I want you to stop praising yourself for endurance while ignoring the cost to your inner life. I am pulling you toward something better. Toward a life where your heart can stay open without being careless. Toward a life where your body can soften without feeling unsafe. Toward a life where your mind can rest without losing wisdom. Toward a life where joy can visit and not be treated like an intruder. That is possible. Not overnight. Not by force. But through repeated surrender, repeated truth, repeated practice, repeated return to me when the old patterns flare up. And before you move on from this point, I want you to do one practical thing. Identify one place where survival mode shows up most often for you. Maybe it is relationships. Maybe it is money. Maybe it is health. Maybe it is your work. Maybe it is the nighttime. Maybe it is silence. Maybe it is joy itself. Name it. Then bring that exact place to me and say, pull me out here. Teach me peace here. Retrain me here. Do not ask vaguely. Ask specifically. Invite me into the room where the old pattern is strongest. That is where I want to meet you. Because I am not just soothing you for a moment, my child. I am leading you out. I am taking you by the hand and pulling you out of emotional survival mode, out of constant alertness, out of internal alarm, out of the exhausting cycle of always bracing for impact. Let me lead. Walk with me. Stay near. Practice what I am showing you. And when the old storm rises, remember this. You do not live there anymore. You may feel the weather, but you do not have to build your home inside it. I am teaching you a better way to live, and if you keep responding when I call, your heart will slowly begin to believe what it has not believed in a long time, that peace is not only possible for other people, it is possible for you too. My child, as I pull you out of survival and into peace, I also invite you to become a vessel that carries that peace to others. There are hearts still trapped in constant alert, still bracing, still weary, and what you have received here is the oil meant to reach them. When you give, you are not acting out of pressure, you are flowing from healing into purpose. I have spoken, freely you have received, freely give, and I am awakening that flow within you now. Your support becomes a bridge, allowing this message to reach those who cannot yet see a way out. This is not small. It is a sacred exchange, a movement of my spirit through willing hands. Support through super thanks, membership, with a PayPal link in the description, and let your peace become provision for others. Do not delay. Move now. My beloved child, come closer and do not rush this, because I need to speak into a place where too many false voices have been living rent-free inside your thoughts. I want you to slow down and pay attention. Breathe. Let the noise lower for a moment. Listen carefully, because this is not a small correction. This is a rescue. Stop letting the enemy narrate your story. Stop handing the microphone to the voice that only knows how to accuse, distort, exaggerate, and twist what I am doing into something dark, hopeless, and defeating. I need you to understand how often this has been happening. The enemy rarely begins with obvious lies. He often starts with a familiar wound, a real disappointment, a true struggle, a recent mistake, a delayed answer, an unanswered prayer, a painful memory, a present uncertainty. Then he leans in and begins building a story around it. He takes one hard chapter and calls it your identity. He takes one delay and calls it your destiny. He takes one weakness and calls it your nature. He takes one loss and calls it your future. He takes one painful silence and calls it proof that I have left. He takes one emotional low point and calls it who you really are. That is how he works. He is subtle, strategic, and often sounds convincing because he borrows real pieces of your experience. But the story he tells is crooked. It is bent. It is slanted. It is not the truth. And you have been listening longer than you realize. You have let him narrate your waiting as rejection. You have let him narrate your fatigue as failure. You have let him narrate your sensitivity as weakness. You have let him narrate your caution and disqualification. You have let him narrate your past mistakes as permanent labels. You have let him narrate your present confusion as evidence that you are incapable of hearing me. You have let him narrate your delayed prayers as proof that nothing meaningful is coming. My child, enough. Stop. Do not keep sitting through that false sermon. Do not keep nodding along to a voice that never loved you. Do not keep agreeing with interpretations that shrink your hope, poison your peace, and make you suspicious of my goodness. I want you to become more alert to what is happening inside you. Notice the tone of the thoughts that keep circling. Notice how quickly some thoughts push you toward shame, dread, despair, self-contempt, hopelessness, or harsh conclusions. Notice how often the internal voice leaps from one event to a sweeping verdict about your entire life. That leap matters. It is a clue. Truth may be direct, but it does not rush to destroy. My correction may be clear, but it does not smear your whole identity with condemnation. The enemy loves broad, brutal, black and white storytelling. He loves dramatic declarations. You always ruin things. You never change. This proves you are behind. This means you are forgotten. This delay means you missed your chance. This struggle means you are weak. This silence means God has moved on. Those are not my words. Those are not my rhythms. That is not how I speak to you. I do not tell your story through the lens of accusation. I tell it through the lens of redemption. I do not interpret your process as proof of your failure. I interpret it as a place where I am still forming you. I do not look at your scars and call you damaged goods. I look at your scars and see where I have already kept you alive. I do not stare at your delay and call it defeat. I see the roots growing under the ground. I do not point at your weakness and call it the end. I see the doorway where my strength enters. So listen to me now and receive this as instruction. Stop rehearsing the enemy's version of your life. Stop repeating what darkness says about your future. Stop agreeing with thoughts that leave you spiritually smaller, emotionally heavier, and relationally more withdrawn. Guard your mind with greater seriousness. Challenge the storyline, not just the individual thought. Ask yourself, who is telling this story, and what fruit is it producing in me? If the story produces hopelessness, self-hatred, panic, paralysis, or suspicion toward me, it is not a story you should keep entertaining. Interrupt it. Refuse it. Bring it to me. Lay it before me. Then ask me for the truer telling. Ask me how I interpret what you are walking through. Ask me what I call this season. Ask me what I am building, what I am protecting, what I am revealing, what I am healing, what I am pruning, what I am preparing. Let me become the narrator again. Because if you let the wrong voice tell the story long enough, you will start living like the lie is already fate. And I will not let you keep doing that without confronting it. I love you too much to stay silent while a thief keeps narrating your life like it belongs to him. It does not. Your story is mine, and I am not done writing it. Part of the reason this false narration has felt so powerful is because it often echoes voices you have heard before. That is why it slips in so easily. Sometimes it sounds like old criticism from people who wounded you. Sometimes it sounds like disappointment you turned inward years ago. Sometimes it sounds like your own fear trying to stay ahead of pain. Sometimes it sounds like shame dressed in honesty. Sometimes it even sounds spiritual because it borrows language from conviction while stripping away compassion and hope. That is why discernment matters so much here. You cannot simply ask whether a thought sounds serious. You must ask whether it sounds like me. You must ask whether it aligns with my character, my truth, my pace, my heart toward you. I may expose what needs healing, but I do not do it to crush you. I may call you higher, but I do not do it by humiliating you. I may lead you into repentance, but I do not use shame as the leash. The enemy does. He loves to keep you staring at your own flaws until you forget my grace. He loves to keep you replaying the same old wound until you stop noticing how much healing has already happened. He loves to keep you so focused on you're not enough that you stop responding to my invitations. That is why I need you to become active, not passive. When the enemy starts narrating, do not just sit there. Get up internally. Speak back. If the lie says, "You are too damaged," answer it with what I have already restored. If the lie says, You are too late. Answer it with the truth that I redeem time. If the lie says, this silence means abandonment, answer it with the memory of how many times I was near in quiet seasons. If the lie says, you always fail, answer it with the truth that you are still growing and I am still at work. This is not empty positivity. This is spiritual responsibility. This is what it means to stop letting darkness use your own thoughts as a stage. I want you to build a new habit. When a condemning narrative begins, pause and ask, what is the bigger story God is telling here? Maybe the bigger story is not I keep falling apart, but I am finally seeing where healing is needed. Maybe it is not I always get left, but I am learning to stop clinging to what cannot carry me. Maybe it is not nothing ever changes, but change hath been happening quietly and I have been too wounded to notice it. Maybe it is not I am weak, but I have been carrying more than anyone knows, and God is calling me into deeper dependence. Let me widen the frame for you. Let me pull the camera back. Let me show you the whole field, not just the single painful scene. And right now, I want you to do something practical. Think of the most common negative storyline that keeps returning in your mind. Name it clearly. Do not hide it behind vague language. Is it I'm always behind? Is it I ruin everything? Is it no one stays? Is it nothing good lasts? Is it God is silent because I failed? Bring that exact sentence to me. Then ask me for the truer sentence. Wait. Listen. Write it down if you need to. Return to it when the old voice comes back. This is how you retrain your inner world. This is how you stop letting the enemy preach to your pain. And let me say one more thing before you move on. You are not powerless here. You may not control every thought that knocks, but you do have authority over what gets a chair at your table. You do not have to host every accusation. You do not have to entertain every dark interpretation. You do not have to make a home for the voice that keeps trying to shrink your future. Close the door. Change the channel. Hand me the pen. Let me narrate your life again. Let me tell you who you are, where you are, what this season means, what is still possible, and why your story is not nearly as finished or as hopeless as the enemy wants you to believe. Stop letting him narrate it, my child. I am still speaking, still writing, still redeeming, still restoring, and still leading you into a truth far bigger than the lie. My beloved child, come close and do not look away from this, because I need to speak into a place that has been sitting in the background of your life for longer than you may realize. I need you to slow down and let your heart become honest with me. Stay here. Do not skim over this because it feels intense. This is where freedom begins. I am breaking your agreement with hopelessness. I am not speaking only about moments when you feel sad, tired, or discouraged. I am speaking about something deeper and more subtle than that. I am speaking about the quiet inner posture that has been forming in you in certain areas of your life, where you have stopped expecting real change even while still going through the motions. I am speaking about the places where you still pray, but part of you no longer believes anything will move. I am speaking about the places where you still show up, but your heart has quietly stopped leaning forward. I am speaking about the places where you have become so familiar with delay, disappointment, emotional strain, unanswered questions, repeated patterns, and slow progress that you have gradually lowered your expectation just to protect yourself from more pain. I know why that happened. I know how it formed. Hopelessness rarely arrives all at once. It usually settles in slowly. It moves in through repeated letdowns, through doors that did not open, through prayers that seemed to remain suspended, through relationships that did not heal the way you hoped, through cycles you thought you had broken, but still saw again, through emotional battles that wore you down, through silence that lasted longer than you expected. At first, you resisted it. At first, you fought to stay hopeful. At first, you kept bringing your heart to me with raw expectancy. But after enough strain, something in you started making quiet agreements just to reduce the ache. You began telling yourself things like, "This probably won't change. This is probably just how it is. I shouldn't get my hopes up. Nothing really shifts for me. I'll just manage. I can function without expecting more. It's safer not to believe too much." Those may not have been formal declarations, but they became inner covenants. They became the emotional atmosphere around certain parts of your life. And because they felt protective, you stopped noticing how deeply they were shaping you. But I noticed. I saw how those agreements began dimming your prayers. I saw how they flattened your imagination. I saw how they made your spirit sit down in places where I was still calling you to stand. I saw how they made you settle into a low-grade resignation that looked calm on the outside but was quietly draining expectancy on the inside. My child, I need you to hear me very clearly now. Hopelessness is not humility. It is not wisdom. It is not maturity. It is not discernment. It is often disappointment that has remained unhealed long enough to become a lens. It is often pain that has stayed in the room so long it started making decisions. And I am not willing to let it keep doing that in you. That is why I am confronting it now. I am not scolding you. I am rescuing you. I am not asking you to pretend everything feels bright. I am not asking you to manufacture emotional hype. I am asking you to stop partnering with a voice that says nothing can truly shift. I am asking you to stop calling dead what I have not declared dead. I am asking you to stop adapting to the absence of visible change so deeply that you become emotionally unavailable to the very breakthrough, healing, restoration, or clarity I am still able to bring. So right now, bring those hidden agreements to me. Bring the places where you secretly stopped expecting. Bring the area where your faith became mechanical. Bring the relationship, the healing, the emotional pattern, the dream, the calling, the internal battle, the future, the thing you still mention but no longer really lean toward. Bring it close. Hold it out to me. Let me put my finger on the exact sentence of hopelessness that has been living there. Let me expose it. Let me break it. Let me tear up the inner contract you signed in pain. Because I did not create you to live in quiet resignation while calling it peace. I did not create you to become emotionally smaller just because waiting has been hard. I did not create you to survive by expecting less from me. I am calling you back into living expectancy, not loud, forced, performative optimism, but rooted, sober, holy expectancy that says, I do not understand everything, but I refuse to make hopelessness my home. That is where I want you. That is where I am leading you. Stay with me and let me do this deeply. The reason this matters so much is because hopelessness does not only affect what you feel, it affects what you permit, what you pursue, what you prepare for, and what you can even recognize when it begins to arrive. When hopelessness settles in, it narrows your vision. It makes you stop preparing for what you once prayed for. It makes you stop noticing subtle progress because you trained yourself to expect none. It makes you interpret every delay as confirmation that nothing is changing. It makes you resistant to joy because joy feels risky. It makes you emotionally brace against possibility because possibility feels vulnerable. It teaches your heart to protect itself by staying neutral, but that neutrality slowly becomes numbness. And numbness is dangerous because it can make you miss what I am doing even when it is already beginning. I need you to understand that. If your heart is trained to expect nothing, it may fail to recognize the first signs of movement. If your inner world is organized around resignation, you may stand in front of answered prayer and still be too shut down to receive it well. That is why I am not just comforting your disappointment. I am dismantling the false structure it built, and I want you to cooperate with me in a very practical way. Start paying attention to the phrases that rise automatically when you think about the places that have hurt the most. Listen for the inner language. Do you say, "It never works out"? Do you say, "That's just not for me"? Do you say, "I'm tired of hoping"? Do you say, "I'll believe it when I see it"? Do you say, "I should stop expecting too much"? Those are not harmless habits. They are clues. They reveal where hopelessness has been shaping the atmosphere. So when you hear them, do not just let them pass. Interrupt them. Bring them to me immediately. Say, "This is the agreement I have been making." Break it. Then ask me for a truer sentence. Not a dramatic slogan. A truer sentence. Maybe it is, "I am still in process." Maybe it is, "This is not finished." Maybe it is, "I do not need to protect myself by expecting nothing." Maybe it is, "God can still move here." Maybe it is, "I can stay open without forcing outcomes." That kind of truth matters because it changes the emotional climate where hope either withers or breathes. And I want you to do more than correct your thoughts. I want you to make room for expectancy in your actions. If there is an area where you have stopped preparing because you assume nothing would change, ask me what one small act of faithfulness looks like now. If you have stopped praying honestly, begin again. Simply, plainly, directly. If you have stopped imagining that healing could reach a certain wound, invite me back into that wound without demanding instant resolution. If you have stopped believing your heart could feel alive again, begin making space for life instead of only managing symptoms. These small acts matter. They are not about earning my movement. They are about bringing your inner posture back into alignment with the truth that I am still able, still present, still active, still powerful, still tender, and still involved. And let me say something very personal before you move on. Some of you have mistaken the loss of excitement for the loss of possibility. Just because you do not feel stirred every day does not mean I am absent. Just because your emotions are tired does not mean the story is over. Just because you have been disappointed does not mean you are disqualified from hope. Hope is not always loud. Sometimes it is simply the decision to stay open. Sometimes it is the refusal to make a permanent home in cynicism. Sometimes it is the quiet act of showing up with your heart still slightly turned toward me even after long waiting. I honor that. I see that. And I am strengthening that in you right now. So do this with me. Put your hand over the area in your life where hopelessness has felt the strongest. Name it. Say it plainly. Then say, "I break my agreement with hopelessness here. I return this place to God. I stay open here. I invite your truth here. I invite your life here." Speak it slowly. Mean it. Then keep walking with me. Because I am not only exposing hopelessness, my child. I am uprooting it. I am clearing the room. I am reopening the windows. I am bringing breath back into the places where disappointment tried to suffocate expectancy. I am breaking your agreement with hopelessness, and if you will let me, you will begin to feel something you have not felt in a long time. Not forced excitement, not emotional pressure, but a quiet, living sense that I am still able to move where you once assumed nothing would ever change. My child, as I break your agreement with hopelessness, I am also calling you to break it for others through your obedience. There are souls who have already settled into resignation, who no longer believe anything can change, and your giving becomes the spark that reintroduces them to hope. This is how light spreads, one surrendered heart at a time. I have declared, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it, and your seed becomes part of that unstoppable light. Do not let this moment pass as inspiration only. Let it become action that carries life into weary places. What you release now, I will multiply, protect, and use beyond what you can see. Support through Super Thanks membership, or the PayPal link in the description. Break the cycle. Act now. My beloved child, come close one more time and listen with your whole heart, because this next truth is not merely about getting you through a hard season. It is about calling you out of the smaller version of life you have been settling into and inviting you into a deeper, stronger, more awake way of walking with me. I need you to hear this clearly. This is your invitation to rise, not just recover. Recovery matters. I care about your healing. I care about your rest. I care about the places in you that have been bruised, exhausted, overextended, disappointed, and emotionally worn thin. I have been tending those places. I have been speaking into those places. I have been slowing you down, confronting false beliefs, exposing hidden agreements, softening harshness, dismantling fear, interrupting hopelessness, retraining your inner world, and teaching your heart how to breathe again. All of that matters. But my child, I do not want you to think my goal is only to bring you back to some fragile version of okay. I am not merely trying to stabilize you enough that you can go back to surviving with slightly less pain. I am not trying to patch you up so you can return to the same emotional patterns, the same limited expectations, the same self-protective reflexes, the same fearful agreements, the same shrunken way of living. No, I am calling you higher than that. I am calling you into a rising. I am calling you into a more grounded courage. I am calling you into a cleaner mind, a steadier heart, a freer spirit, a more anchored inner life, a more mature trust, a more honest relationship with me, and a more intentional way of moving through your days. Recovery says, I am not drowning right now. Rising says, I am learning how to walk with authority, clarity, and peace. Recovery says, I made it through. Rising says, I am becoming someone who no longer lives under what once ruled me. Do you hear the difference? One is survival after impact. The other is transformation after surrender. And I want the deeper thing for you. I want the stronger thing for you. I want the more lasting thing for you. That is why I have not only been comforting you, I have been confronting what kept you small. That is why I have not only been soothing your wounds, I have been challenging your agreements. That is why I have not only been giving you reassurance, I have been teaching you responsibility in your inner world. I have been saying, stop entertaining every fear. I have been saying, stop calling it the end. I have been saying, stop carrying tomorrow tonight. I have been saying, stop letting the enemy narrate your story. These were not just comfort statements. They were invitations to rise. They were moments where I was not only trying to make you feel better, but teaching you how to live differently. So now I need you to receive this as a real turning point. Do not take all this truth and merely tuck it into a corner as something that made you feel seen for a moment. Let it become movement. Let it become decision. Let it become practice. Let it become alignment. Rise in the way you think. Rise in the way you interpret delay. Rise in the way you speak to yourself. Rise in the way you respond to fear. Rise in the way you hold uncertainty. Rise in the way you manage your nights. Rise in the way you guard your peace. Rise in the way you refuse old narratives. Rise in the way you bring your wounds to me instead of building identity around them. This is not pressure. This is invitation. This is not me demanding perfection. This is me calling the deeper you forward, the truer you, the freer you, the version of you that is not ruled by every old reflex, the version of you that has learned enough now to stop bowing to what once felt automatic. So stand up inwardly. Stand up in your spirit. Stand up in the places where you have been passive. Stand up where resignation sat too long. Stand up where fear kept the lights low. Stand up where you kept saying, maybe one day. Let today be a beginning. Let today be a threshold. Let today be the moment where you stop asking only, how do I get through this? And start asking, who am I becoming as I walk with God through this? That question changes everything. That question opens the door to rising. And I want you to walk through it. Rising will not always feel dramatic. I need you to understand that, because if you are waiting for one emotional explosion before you believe transformation has begun, you may miss the holy power of steady choices. Rising often looks like small obediences repeated until they become a new way of being. It looks like interrupting a fearful thought before it builds a fortress. It looks like choosing rest when your mind wants to rehearse tomorrow. It looks like speaking to yourself with truth instead of cruelty. It looks like naming hopelessness instead of quietly partnering with it. It looks like setting a boundary where you once overextended. It looks like bringing your sensitivity to me for stewardship instead of shaming it. It looks like staying open in the middle instead of declaring the story over. It looks like trusting without demanding full explanation. It looks like doing the next faithful thing instead of waiting for perfect certainty. That is rising. It is not always flashy. It is often deeply practical. And that is exactly why it changes lives. So I want you to stop underestimating the power of these choices. Do not despise the ordinary disciplines of inner transformation. Do not wait for some giant external moment before you decide to become more aligned. Begin now. Begin in the room you are in. Begin with the next thought. Begin with the next breath. Begin with the next reaction. Begin with the next conversation. Begin with the next night when anxiety tries to take over. Begin with the next time disappointment whispers a conclusion. Begin with the next moment you are tempted to call yourself weak, behind, forgotten, ruined, or finished. Catch it. Interrupted. Bring it to me. That is how rising happens. And I also want you to understand that rising does not mean you will never feel tired again, never feel stretched again, never feel moments of sadness, uncertainty, or vulnerability. It means those things no longer get to define the architecture of your life. It means you can feel deeply without being ruled completely. It means you can be in process without surrendering your authority. It means you can have a hard day without making it your identity. It means you can walk through a storm without building your house inside it. That is what I am teaching you. That is the kind of life I want for you. So here is what I want you to do now, and I want you to do it deliberately. Identify one specific way you have been living in just recover mode instead of rise mode. Maybe you have only been trying to get through the day without panic, but I want to teach you to build peace intentionally. Maybe you have only been trying to avoid more hurt, but I want to teach you to set boundaries and still stay open. Maybe you have only been trying to function, but I want to teach you to live with expectancy. Maybe you have only been trying not to collapse, but I want to teach you to stand with clarity. Name that place. Then ask me, what does rising look like here, in practical terms, starting today? Ask it honestly. Then listen. Maybe I will show you a boundary. Maybe I will show you a rhythm. Maybe I will show you a conversation. Maybe I will show you a habit to stop. Maybe I will show you a truth to repeat. Maybe I will show you an act of obedience you have delayed. Whatever it is, do not postpone it. Respond. Move. Take the step. Because this is not only a comforting message. This is a summons. This is me calling you out of emotional crouching and into spiritual posture. This is me lifting your chin and saying, you do not have to live under this anymore. This is me reminding you that I did not preserve you merely so you can keep surviving with better coping skills. I preserved you because I am forming a stronger, freer, wiser, more deeply anchored life in you. So rise, my child. Rise gently, but rise. Rise honestly, but rise. Rise imperfectly, but rise. Rise in truth. Rise in trust. Rise in clarity. Rise in practice. Rise with me. Because this is your invitation, not just to recover from what has hurt you, but to become someone who no longer lets that hurt quietly run the future I am still unfolding. My beloved child, stay right here with me now, because this is not the moment for you to drift, not the moment for you to let your attention slide away, not the moment for you to tell yourself you will come back to this later when you feel more ready. I need you to hear me now. I need you to stay. I need you to stop what you are doing inwardly and let this final word settle into the deepest places of your heart. Do not scroll past this. Do not brush this aside. Do not reduce this to just another encouraging thought. This is me calling you into a new chapter. I am not speaking to the surface of you. I am not speaking only to the part of you that wants comfort for a moment and then returns to the same old habits by nightfall. I am speaking to the deeper place in you that has been quietly longing for something to finally shift, not just around you, but within you. You have felt it. You have sensed it. You have known, even if you could not fully explain it, that you cannot keep living the same way internally. You cannot keep carrying tomorrow tonight. You cannot keep entertaining every fear like it deserves a room in your mind. You cannot keep calling yourself weak when I am trying to show you the sensitivity I placed in you. You cannot keep letting the enemy narrate your life. You cannot keep naming endings where I am still working. You cannot keep living in emotional survival mode while calling it wisdom. You cannot keep making quiet agreements with hopelessness and then wondering why your spirit feels dim. You cannot keep asking for healing while protecting the very patterns that keep reopening the wound. You know this now. And because you know it, I am asking you for something deeper than a moment of emotional agreement. I am asking you for response. I am asking you for a real yes. Not a dramatic yes that burns bright for an hour and fades by tomorrow. I am asking for a grounded yes. A practice yes. A steady yes. A yes that shows up in how you think, how you speak to yourself, how you respond to fear, how you carry uncertainty, how you guard your peace, how you handle the night, how you interpret the delay, how you let me define your story. This is the threshold, my child. Feel that. This is not pressure. This is invitation with weight on it. This is me standing at the doorway of your next chapter and asking you not to keep clinging to what I have already been trying to move you beyond. I have been patient with you. I have been tender with you. I have met you in your exhaustion, your confusion, your self-protection, your overthinking, your fear, your heaviness, your inner battles, your late-night spirals, your hidden discouragement. I have not shamed you for where you have been. I have not mocked the pace of your healing. I have not rejected you because you were tired. I have not turned away because you were struggling. I have been with you. I have stayed. I have spoken. I have reached for you again and again, sometimes in whispers, sometimes in interruption, sometimes in conviction, sometimes in comfort. And now I am asking you to stop living as if you are still trapped in the old chapter. Stop Stop dressing for a season I am pulling you out of. Stop organizing your inner world around storms I am teaching you to walk through differently. Stop rehearsing old pain as if it is still your permanent identity. Stop bracing before every good thing. Stop apologizing for needing me. Stop delaying surrender until your mind feels completely satisfied. Stop hiding behind complexity when what I am asking for is trust. Come through the doorway. Come as you are, but come. Bring your questions. Bring your tiredness. Bring your tenderness. Bring your doubts. Bring your unfinished healing. Bring your inconsistent days. Bring your fear and let me teach it its place. Bring your habits and let me retrain them. Bring your history and let me reinterpret it. Bring your hope, even if it is small. Bring your yes, even if it trembles. But do not stand in the doorway forever. Do not admire the invitation without accepting it. Do not keep saying, "One day I'll live differently," while continuing to bow to the same internal patterns that I have already been exposing. The chapter is changing. I am calling you forward. I am not asking you to be perfect before you enter. I am asking you to stop refusing the invitation because you are still attached to what is familiar. Familiar is not your future. The old coping is not your calling. The old fear is not your home. The old hopelessness is not your identity. The old story is not the final draft. Hear me now. I am calling you into a new chapter, and you need to answer me with more than emotion. You need to answer me with movement. So here is what I want you to do, and I want you to do it deliberately, honestly, and without trying to make it sound polished. Sit with me right now in the deepest place of your attention. Put down the inner performance. Put down the polished spiritual language. Put down the part of you that wants to feel inspired without actually changing anything. I want the real you. I want the unguarded you. I want the version of you that is tired of repeating cycles and ready to live differently with me. Name the old chapter clearly. Say what it has been. Was it the chapter of fear? Was it the chapter of emotional survival? Was it the chapter of self-condemnation? Was it the chapter of hopelessness? Was it the chapter of delay that you misread as abandonment? Was it the chapter of letting old wounds interpret every new moment? Was it the chapter of overthinking until your soul felt strangled? Name it. Then close it with me. Not by pretending it never mattered. Not by dishonoring what it taught you. Not by denying the real pain that lived there. Close it by saying, "I'm not building my life there anymore." Then ask me the next question, and ask it with courage. What must change in me so I can live in the new chapter with you? Wait there. Let me answer. Maybe I will show you a nightly habit that must end. Maybe I will show you a thought pattern that must be interrupted every time it rises. Maybe I will show you a boundary that has been overdue. Maybe I will show you a lie that has been quietly shaping your self-image. Maybe I will show you a relationship dynamic you have been tolerating that keeps pulling you back into old emotional weather. Maybe I will show you a place where you need to stop seeking certainty and begin practicing trust. Maybe I will show you that the next chapter begins not with a giant external breakthrough, but with the quiet daily discipline of refusing to agree with what has been stealing your peace. Whatever I show you, do not postpone obedience. Do not tell yourself you will start tomorrow. Start now. Start tonight. Start with the next thought, the next decision, the next response, the next moment you are tempted to rehearse fear, collapse into self-hatred, or numb yourself with old patterns. Catch it. Bring it to me. Choose differently. That is how chapters actually change. Not just through a powerful moment, but through repeated agreement with truth. And let me leave you with this, because you need to carry it forward as more than a feeling. You need to carry it as a living conviction. I did not stop you here just to comfort you and send you back unchanged. I stopped you because I wanted your attention. I stopped you because I had something you needed to hear. I stopped you because your heart was tired enough to finally listen. I stopped you because the old chapter had gone on long enough. I stopped you because I refused to let the enemy keep narrating your life. I stopped you because your mind has been too crowded and your spirit too burdened. I stopped you because I am pulling you out of what has been quietly draining you. I stopped you because I am still working, still restoring, still strengthening, still rewriting, still deepening, still healing, still calling. So now listen one last time, and let this become the sentence you walk away with. You are not being left behind in the chapter that hurt you. You are being let out of it. I am with you in the doorway. I am ahead of you in the next page. I am not asking you to leap into emptiness. I am asking you to walk with me into a life where fear does not get the final word, hopelessness does not get to settle in your bones, old wounds do not keep deciding your future, and your heart learns how to live open, steady, honest, and deeply anchored again. Stand up now in your spirit. Open your hands. Say yes. Step forward. Come with me. This is your new chapter, my child, and I am already there waiting for you. My child, as you stand in the doorway of this new chapter, I am asking you to step forward not only in your life, but in your impact. This is not just about what I am doing in you. It is about what I will do through you. Every act of giving becomes a declaration that you are no longer living in the old chapter, but partnering with me in what is being written next. I have spoken. Enlarge the place of your tent. Do not hold back, and this is your moment to expand. When you give, you help carry this call into hearts that are still standing at their own doorway, unsure if they should step forward. This is a divine appointment. Do not treat it casually. Support through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, and step fully into alignment with me. Say yes with your action. Give now. If this message found you at the exact moment you needed it, don't stay silent. Comment, Father, I will not scroll past this. I am stepping into my new chapter. Let that be your declaration, not just your reaction. Make it public, make it personal, and let your own words become the line where fear ends and obedience begins. This is not just a comment. It is your signal that you heard me, that you are done carrying the old chapter, and that you are saying yes to what I am doing in you now. Type it with faith, and step forward. And once you have spoken those words, do not rush forward as you always have. A new chapter does not begin in noise. It begins in stillness and attention. What you have declared has already shifted something within you. This is where obedience slows your steps so you can finally hear what matters. So stop for a moment, because what comes next is meant for you right now. My child, stop right there. Yes, right where you are. I have something you need to hear, and it cannot wait. You are constantly moving, running a race that feels like it has no finish line. You wake up with the heavy weight of the day already pressing on your chest. You hear the endless noise of the world. It shouts at you from your screens, from your workplace, from the endless demands of your daily life. I see the intense pressure at your job that makes you feel like you are never doing enough. I know all about the unspoken tensions in your family that you carry in silence. I watch as you fear the future, wondering how you will pay the bills, how you will fix the broken pieces of your life, how you will finally be seen instead of feeling entirely overlooked. Stop running. Stop worrying. Stop striving. I am pulling gently on your heart right now. You feel that knot in your stomach. That tight, anxious feeling. That isn't from me. Let's undo it together. I have placed my Holy Spirit within you, and right now, that Spirit is whispering, pause. Take a deep breath. Feel the air fill your lungs. That breath is a gift from me. Like the quiet pause before a storm breaks, with a deep breath you take before you face a massive challenge, I am offering you a moment of profound stillness. I love you to the moon and back. You have been living like a powerful car driving with the handbrake on. You are pushing so hard, burning your energy, yet feeling stuck and completely exhausted. When I tell you to stop, I am not pushing you away. My stop is a redirection, not a rejection. You think you are falling behind, but you are exactly where I want you. I am simply saving you from walking down a path that will only drain your soul. You are trying to force doors open that I have firmly closed for your absolute protection. Let go of the handle. Step back. Look at me. I am moving you away from the edge of burnout and guiding you toward a place of deep, lasting rest. Your spiritual vision has become clouded by the thick dust of your own hurry. You check your phone, you check your emails, you check the news, but you forget to check your own soul. You have allowed the loud voices of panic and comparison to drown out my gentle whisper. I see you chasing things that will never satisfy the deep hunger in your heart. You want security, but you look for it in bank accounts and the approval of people who change their minds like the wind. Turn your eyes away from those illusions. Focus your gaze directly on me. This very moment is sacred. This is not an accident. You did not stumble upon these words by chance. I orchestrated this exact second in time just to get your attention. I am clearing the room. Imagine we are sitting together in a quiet, comfortable room, just the two of us. The door is shut. The noise of the city is gone. The loud demands of your boss, your friends, and your family are left far outside. It is just you and me. Pause now. Close your eyes for a second. Do you hear it? My whisper in the silence, calling you forward. Feel my love wrapping around you like the warmth of the morning sun. I want to speak to you face to face. I want to look into your tired eyes and tell you that you are deeply, completely, and eternally loved. I do not want the world interfering with my message to you anymore. The world tells you to hurry up, but I tell you to slow down. The world tells you to hustle, but I tell you to rest. The world tells you that you are falling behind, but I tell you that your timing is perfectly held in my hands. Give me this moment. Surrender your schedule for just these few minutes. Listen to the one voice that actually holds your destiny. I am here. I am waiting. Come to me. Hand over those heavy bags you are carrying. You were never meant to carry the weight of the world on your fragile shoulders. I see you waking up in the middle of the night, your mind racing with a million different thoughts. You worry about your job. You worry about your family. You worry about how you will pay your bills next month. You have chained yourself to these fears, pulling them along like heavy iron blocks tied to your ankles. Stop right now. Unclip those chains. Give me your heavy burdens. I am strong enough to hold your family tensions. I am big enough to handle the pressures at your workplace. You are trying to be the savior of your own life, but you already have a savior. Step down from that exhausting job. Let me take over the heavy lifting. Look at how you have bowed down to the false gods of busyness and productivity. You think that if you just work one more hour, send one more email, or fix one more problem, you will finally feel peace. But that is a lie. The more you hustle, the more empty you feel. You are running on a treadmill, sweating, and completely tired, but going absolutely nowhere. Step off the machine. I do not measure your value by how much you get done in a single day. I measure you by my love. Stop trying to earn your worth by burning yourself out. Productivity is a cruel master that will never tell you that you have done enough. I am your loving Father who tells you to come, sit down, and rest. Bring me your past mistakes. I know they haunt you. I see how you replay your failures in your head, thinking you have ruined your chances or messed up your relationships forever. My grace is like a mighty, rushing river that washes all of that dirt away. Do not hold on to the guilt that I have already forgiven. Drop the heavy shame. I am not angry with you. I am not keeping a dark list of your wrongs. I have wiped your record completely clean. Accept my forgiveness right now. Stop punishing yourself for things I have already erased from my memory. Walk out of that cold prison of guilt. The door is wide open, and I am standing outside, reaching my hand out to you. Release your desperate need for control. You tightly grip the steering wheel of your life, terrified that if you let go, everything will crash into the ditch. But your tight grip is making your hands bleed. Let go. Trust my sovereign hand. I can see the whole map, from the very beginning to the very end, while you can only see the few feet right in front of you. Trust that I know exactly how to navigate the sudden storms in your family. Trust that I know how to handle your career path. When you try to control everything, you live in a constant, painful state of panic. When you surrender control to me, you step into a deep, unshakable peace. Let me drive. Sit back and trust your Father. Break the painful cycle of anxiety right now through simple, honest prayer. When that tight knot forms in your stomach, do not let it grow. Talk to me immediately. Tell me exactly what you are afraid of. Say it out loud. Name your fear of the future. Name your fear of failure at your job. Name your fear of being left alone. When you bring your hidden fears into my bright light, they lose their dark power over you. I am listening to every single word you say. Embrace the beautiful freedom that comes from knowing you are already enough. You do not need to prove anything to anyone. You do not need a better job title or a perfect family to be fiercely loved by me. You are enough, exactly as you are, right in this very moment. Stand tall in that wonderful truth. Go back to the very beginning with me. Recall the moment I knit you together in your mother's dark and quiet womb. I was there. I chose the exact color of your eyes. I designed the unique shape of your smile. I carefully placed every single talent and hidden gift inside your heart. You are not an accident. You are not a mistake. You are a priceless masterpiece crafted by my own hands. I dreamed of you long before the earth was even created. Feel the massive weight of that truth. You were planned with perfect intention and deep joy. Every time you look in the mirror and hate what you see, you are arguing with your Creator. Stop listening to the cruel voices that tell you otherwise. Look at yourself directly through my eyes. You are beautiful, necessary, and deeply loved. Reject the vicious lies of the enemy right this second. He whispers in your ear that you are totally unworthy. He tells you that you are a massive disappointment to your family, a failure at your job, and entirely overlooked by everyone who matters. He uses your unpaid bills and your daily struggles to make you feel small and completely defeated. Silence his lying voice. Tell him to leave your mind. I declare over you today that you are chosen. I declare that you are fully accepted. Do not let the father of lies dictate how you feel about yourself. He only wants to steal your joy and completely destroy your peace. Fight back with the solid truth of my word. Speak my promises out loud until they drown out every single doubt in your restless mind. Understand the massive depth of my love for you. It is a brilliant love that spans from eternity past to eternity future. is higher than the tallest mountain and deeper than the darkest ocean. You cannot earn this love, and you absolutely cannot lose it. Even on your worst days, when you fail and stumble, my love remains completely unchanged. I love you the exact same when you are exhausted and broken as I do when you are successful and strong. Feel my love wrapping around your shoulders like a heavy, warm blanket on a freezing winter night. Let it soak deep into your tired bones. You are cherished beyond your human comprehension. Rest securely in my deep affection. Start living as a true child of the King rather than a fearful slave to your daily worries. You have royal blood flowing through your spiritual veins. You are a direct heir to my entire, massive kingdom. Why do you walk around with your head hung low, begging for tiny scraps of approval from people who do not even know the real you? Lift your head up right now. Square your shoulders. You carry my royal name. You do not need to be a slave to the terrible fear of tomorrow. You do not need to be chained to the panic of what your coworkers think about you. Step into your God-given authority. Walk into your workplace knowing exactly who your real boss is. Walk into your family conflicts knowing you carry the heavy peace of a king. Recognize the permanent, deeply secure place you hold in my kingdom and in my heart. Nobody can ever take your specific seat at my table. You will never be replaced. You will never be forgotten or put to the side. You are completely mine forever. Your deep worth is defined by the ultimate, bloody sacrifice of my Son on the cross, not by the small, fading achievements on your work resume. Your real value is not found in how much money you make, the car you drive, or how perfectly clean your house is. Your ultimate value is found in the incredibly heavy price I paid to bring you back to me. You are worth absolutely everything to me. Hold on to that truth tightly. Never let anyone tell you that you are less than the incredible price I paid for your eternal soul. Look closely at the dangerous, twisting path you were walking before I told you to stop. I saw the bright warning signs of a heart that was slowly drifting out into a dry, lonely wilderness. You were moving further and further away from my refreshing living water. Your daily prayers became short, rushed, and empty. Your Bible stayed closed on the table while you stared at your glowing phone. You felt a growing, cold distance between us, but you tried to ignore it by simply working harder and harder. I watched your fragile soul drying up like a green plant left out in the hot summer sun without a single drop of rain. Come back to the river. Do not wander out into the dangerous desert alone. Turn around and run back into my waiting arms. I am ready to water your thirsty soul right now. See the subtle, sneaky ways that worldly ambition has completely choked out your spiritual life. You wanted to succeed at your job, which is fine, but that normal desire turned into a heavy obsession. You started putting your daily career goals above your quiet time with me. You let the intense pressure of making more money squeeze the genuine joy right out of your heart. Blind ambition is exactly like a fast-growing weed. If you do not pull it out by the deep roots, it will violently strangle the beautiful flowers in your garden. Stop worshiping human success. It will never, ever love you back. It will only demand more of your precious time, your family, and your health. Give me the absolute first place in your life again. Let me prune away the dead branches so you can actually grow healthy and strong. Notice how rushing ahead of my perfect timing has only led to unnecessary sorrow and deep, bitter frustration in your life. You get so impatient. You see a messy problem in your family or a frustrating delay in your career, and you jump in to fix it entirely by yourself. You try to force heavy doors open with your bare hands. You try to manipulate people and control situations to get what you want right this second. But your rushed, panicked decisions only create much bigger messes. Stop running ahead of me. I see the hidden, dangerous traps on the road that you cannot possibly see. When I make you wait, I am actively protecting you. Learn to walk at my gentle, steady pace. Do not run ahead, and do not lag behind. Stay right by my side, matching your daily steps exactly with mine. Protect your fragile soul from the cruel, biting snares of constant comparison and bitter envy. You look at the highly polished lives of others on your phone screen, and you feel entirely overlooked and left behind. You see their brand new houses, their perfect vacations, and their seemingly happy families, and you wonder why I have completely forgotten you. I have not forgotten you. Constant comparison is a quiet thief that comes in the night to steal your gratitude. It makes you totally blind to the beautiful, daily blessings I have already given you. Stop looking sideways at your neighbors and coworkers. Look straight up at me. Look at the unique, wonderful path I have carved out specifically for you. Celebrate what others have, deeply knowing that your own beautiful blessings are strictly on the way. Recognize the dangerous, quiet moments when your endless good works have completely replaced your God walk. You volunteer, you help your busy friends, you work late to be a deeply reliable employee, but your heart is incredibly far from me. Doing nice things for me is never a valid substitute for simply sitting and being with me. I do not want your busy, tired hands if I do not have your devoted, loving heart. Sit quietly at my feet before you try to serve actively at my table. Understand the profound, saving mercy found in my firm no. When I closed that specific door you desperately wanted to walk through, you cried bitter tears. You felt deeply rejected. But my no was a heavy shield saving you from a painful disaster you could not see. Thank me for the closed doors. They are the ultimate, solid proof of my fierce, protective love for you. Come with me right now into the secret place where true, deep peace actually resides. Leave the loud noise of your busy day outside the heavy door. This is a private, safe room just for the two of us. Here, you do not have to perform for anyone. You do not have to pretend to be the strong one for your family. You do not have to impress your demanding boss. You can just be my tired child. Take a long, deep breath of the calm air in this room. Let your tight, painful shoulders drop. Relax your firmly clenched jaw. This secret place is always available to you, no matter where you are or what crazy chaos is happening around you. Close your eyes and step right into my quiet presence. I have been waiting for you here all day long. Learn the beautiful, steady rhythm of grace through intentional Sabbath and quiet reflection. You treat physical rest like it is a terrible sin or a glaring sign of weakness. You wrongly think that taking a break means you are lazy and falling behind. But I created rest. I built it into the very core fabric of the universe. When you stubbornly refuse to pause, you are violently fighting against the exact way I designed your fragile body and mind to work. Give yourself complete permission to stop. Set aside time to completely disconnect from your job, your endless worries, and your glowing screens. Look at the tall trees, listen to the singing birds, and remember that the massive world keeps spinning perfectly even when you are not working. Let my soft grace set the steady rhythm of your life, not your frantic, racing heartbeat. Watch how I gently and carefully restore your damaged soul beside the calm, still waters of my word. When you open the Bible, you are not just reading an old, dusty book. You are drinking cool, refreshing water that brings instant life to your completely dry spirit. Make actual time to sit by these peaceful waters every single day. Let my ancient, unbreakable promises wash right over your tired, racing mind. There is a massive, critical difference between mere physical sleep and deep spiritual rest. You can sleep for 10 solid hours, and wake up completely exhausted because your anxious soul is still running a stressful marathon of worry. I offer you genuine rest for your tired soul. It is a heavy peace that settles deep down in your bones, a calm that remains perfectly steady even when the loud alarm clock rings and the busy day begins. Cast your heavy, painful cares directly upon me, for I care for you deeply and passionately. Do not gently place them at my feet and then pick them right back up when you walk away. Go them. Heave the heavy, crushing bags of your financial stress, your complicated family drama, and your intense job pressure right onto my strong, capable shoulders. I can easily carry it all. I want to carry you all for you. Why do you stubbornly insist on struggling under a terrible weight that is actively crushing you? Hand it over right this second. Tell me every single detail of what worries you so much. Give me your dark fear of the unknown future. Let me hold all the sharp pieces of your broken plans. Trust that my massive hands are big enough to safely hold your entire world. Exchange your exhausted, totally weary spirit for my easy and light yoke. You have been wearing a heavy, iron collar of perfectionism, guilt, and daily anxiety. It rubs your neck raw and makes every single step you take incredibly painful. Take it off right now. Step directly into the gentle harness with me. My yoke is thickly lined with my love and cushioned with my endless grace. When you are yoked tightly to me, I do absolutely all the heavy pulling. We walk the path together, but I carry the actual load. You just need to stay close and follow my steady lead. Feel the immediate, sweet relief as the heavy, rusted chains fall completely off your back. Stand up straight again. Breathe deeply into your lungs. Walk with me in this wonderful new freedom, moving easily through the tough challenges of your day without being crushed by them ever again. You have just found deep, heavy rest in my secret place, but there are millions still running themselves to absolute death in the noisy, terrifying wilderness. They are desperately thirsting for the quiet, still waters you have just deeply tasted today. Help me carry this living water to the exhausted, broken souls who are frantically crying out for a lifeline. I am inviting you to partner directly with me to broadcast this massive, unshakable peace to the very ends of the earth. I declare over you that whoever generously refreshes others will themselves be completely and entirely refreshed by my hand. Do not delay. The massive harvest of weary hearts is ripe right this very second, and the time to act is right now. As you give, I will violently shatter your own financial chains and multiply your seed into a massive, overflowing harvest of daily provision. Use the super thanks, become a channel member, or click the PayPal link in the description right now to sow your precious seed. My precious child, do not pause this message. Do not walk away from this quiet room and run right back into the loud, crushing chaos. It deeply grieves my heart when you desperately beg for my peace, only to abruptly leave the table before I have completely filled your empty cup. Stay with me. Listen closely to what I am about to reveal, because abandoning our sacred conversation now will only drag you directly back into the dark wilderness you just escaped. Your true breakthrough requires your total presence. Realign your wandering, distracted heart with my specific, divine purpose for your life today. We need to get you securely back on the right track. Discover the unique, beautiful good works that I specifically prepared for you long before you were even born. You are not meant to just wake up, go to a stressful work, pay endless bills, and sleep. That is merely surviving the days, not actually living them. I have carefully crafted a specific, vital mission just for you. There are hurting people only you can successfully reach. There are soft words of comfort only you can speak to your broken family members. There is a bright light only you can shine in your dark, stressful workplace. Step boldly into this grand purpose. Stop wasting your precious energy on trivial arguments, and empty, numbing entertainment. Focus strictly on the vital mission I have placed right in front of your eyes. Shift your intense, worried focus away from temporary, fading gains and fix your eyes firmly on eternal, lasting treasures. You stress so much about the exact amount of money in your bank account, the aging car in your driveway, and the old clothes in your closet. None of that will last. Moth will eat it, rust will destroy it, and passing time will completely erase it. Stop building a fragile sandcastle right next to the crashing, powerful waves. Build something truly permanent. Invest your valuable time in actively loving people, in showing unmerited mercy, and in deeply knowing me. These are the precious treasures you will keep forever. When you reach the very end of your life, you will not urgently ask for your bank statement. You will ask for your loved ones. Prioritize what actually matters in the pure light of eternity. Ask me right now for entirely new eyes to see this broken world exactly as I see it. You often look at your coworkers and family members with deep frustration and heavy annoyance. You clearly see their annoying flaws and their repetitive mistakes. Ask me to give you a heart of intense, supernatural compassion. When you see the loud, angry, difficult person at your job, recognize the deep, hidden pain that is driving their terrible behavior. When you see your family struggling to communicate, look right past the thick tension and see their desperate, unspoken need for love. Cultivate a strong, active heart of genuine gratitude, even right in the absolute middle of your hardest trials. Say thank you for the simple breath in your lungs even when the scary bills are piling up on the kitchen counter. Gratitude is the fast, master key that instantly unlocks my heavy peace in your anxious mind. Experience the profound, daily joy of being an active, living instrument of my peace in a very chaotic, highly broken world. When people around you are panicking and losing their minds, be the calm, steady, unmovable rock. When the office is completely full of toxic, biting gossip, be the one who boldly speaks words of life and heavy encouragement. When your family is fighting and shouting, bring a soft, gentle answer that instantly turns away their wrath. You carry my powerful Holy Spirit inside of you, which means you carry the ultimate peacemaker wherever you go. Use that divine power every single day. Make my glory the absolute primary motivation for every single breath you take from this moment forward. Do your job incredibly well, not to simply impress your demanding boss, but to directly honor me. Love your messy family well, not because they are perfect, but to accurately reflect my perfect, unconditional love to them. Let absolutely everything you do be a loud, beautiful song of praise to your Creator. Whether you are typing a boring email, cooking a simple meal, or comforting a crying child in the middle of the night, do it all with a heart completely surrendered to my will. Watch closely how your ordinary, repetitive days suddenly transform into a grand, holy adventure when you do everything for my glory. Rise up today and walk firmly in this beautiful, aligned purpose. I am with you every single step of the way. You think that surrender means you have completely lost the battle, but I am telling you today that total surrender is the only actual gateway to your total victory. The world teaches you to fight tooth and nail, to claw your way to the top, and to never show a single sign of weakness. We pay more attention to contrasts, so listen to this direct opposite. The world says surrender is defeat, but I say surrender is the beginning of true power. Stop fighting me. Stop fighting your difficult circumstances with your own exhausted, bare hands. When you raise your hands in absolute surrender to me, you are not giving up on your life. You are finally handing the controls over to the exact one who knows how to fly the plane. Drop your heavy weapons. Drop your endless arguments. Drop your exhausting need to always be right and to always be in charge. Surrender your stressful job. Surrender your troubled marriage. Surrender your rebellious children. Simply repeating the word surrender will give it more attention and make it more embedded and easy to remember in your daily walk. Let go of your carefully crafted plan B right this second. You always have a backup plan tucked away in your mind because you are secretly terrified that I might actually fail you. You think, if God does not fix my finances this month, I will just take out another high-interest loan. You think, if God does not heal this broken relationship, I will just walk away and cut them off completely. Your backup plans are an insult to my sovereign power. I do not need your help to save you. Lean entirely, heavily, and completely on my firm promise. I am the Lord your God, your steadfast protector, and your haven amid the tempests of life. Throw away the safety net you built out of your own fragile anxiety. When you finally remove your plan B, you will clearly see that my plan was absolutely flawless from the very start. Bring me your beautifully broken spirit. You feel shattered. You sit alone in your parked car, gripping the steering wheel, crying hot tears because you feel like you have failed at absolutely everything. You think your brokenness makes you entirely useless to me. But you are wrong. I will never, ever despise a broken and contrite heart. In fact, I do my absolute best work with broken pieces. When your stubborn pride is completely crushed, the pure light of my grace can finally shine right through your deep cracks. I am mending the wounds in your heart. All that has pained you for so long will cease to be. Stop trying to glue yourself back together so you look perfect for the people at your office or your church. Bring the sharp, jagged pieces directly to me. Understand how my immense strength is made absolutely perfect in the exact moments of your deepest weakness. When you are strong, capable, and financially secure, you tend to completely forget about me. But when your bank account hits zero, when the terrifying medical diagnosis comes back, when your energy is totally depleted, that is exactly when my supernatural strength floods into your life. Stop apologizing for being weak. Stop hiding your deep exhaustion. Your weakness is simply the empty cup that I am about to completely fill with my endless power. Say yes to my specific will before you even know the final destination. You want the entire 10-year roadmap before you take a single step. You want a written guarantee that you will not get hurt or embarrassed. But I am asking for your blind, absolute trust. Step right into the profound peace that completely surpasses all human understanding. This heavy, solid peace is only found directly in the very center of my will. When you stop striving, when you stop manipulating your boss and your family members, when you finally say, Lord, whatever you want, whenever you want it, the heavy chains fall off. The anxiety that has choked your throat for years will instantly evaporate. You will sleep deeply tonight. You will wake up tomorrow with a clear, focused mind. Absolute surrender is not a one-time event. It is a daily, sometimes hourly, choice. Make that vital choice today. Hand me the heavy keys to your life. Sit in the passenger seat and let me drive you toward your ultimate victory. I know exactly how much you absolutely hate to wait. You live in a fast world where you get your food, your news, and your packages delivered in mere minutes. So when you pray for a massive financial breakthrough or the sudden healing of your marriage, and you wake up the next morning to absolute silence, you immediately panic. You think I have abandoned you. You think I am furiously angry with you. But know this vital truth. My silence is never, ever my absence. Just because you do not hear my loud voice does not mean I have left the room. I am sitting right there beside you on your living room couch while you silently cry. I am standing right next to your desk while you stare blankly at the overwhelming pile of unpaid bills. You must learn to trust my weight exactly as much as you blindly trust my go. When I say go, You are thrilled because it means forward motion and exciting progress. But when I put up a solid red light and say wait, you throw a bitter, spiritual temper tantrum. You check your email 100 times. You constantly refresh your bank account. You aggressively force conversations that should not happen yet. Stop pacing the floor. Understand that I am working intensely behind the scenes on massive things you cannot possibly see. I am actively aligning the hearts of your difficult coworkers. I am carefully preparing the exact right opportunity for your career. If I gave you the massive blessing right now, it would crush you because you are not strong enough to carry it yet. Use this quiet, frustrating season of waiting to build massive spiritual endurance. Imagine you are sitting trapped in a cold, dark cellar. You can't see a thing, you're shivering. In some ways, imagination is more powerful and more personal than an actual visual because each individual internally creates their own picture. Imagine waiting as being a tiny seed buried deep in the freezing, dark dirt. It feels like you are completely buried alive. It feels like absolute death. But you are not buried. You are simply planted. While you are sitting in the dark, wondering if I have completely forgotten you, your spiritual roots are growing incredibly deep. You are developing the solid patience, the tough character, and the firm resilience you will absolutely need to handle the massive harvest that is coming. Do not waste the waiting room. Remain fiercely faithful in the totally boring, small things while you are painfully waiting for the great things. You want to lead the entire company, but you complain bitterly about filling out the simple spreadsheets. You want a perfectly restored, happy marriage, but you refuse to do the dishes or speak a single kind word to your spouse today. I am watching how you handle the tiny, invisible moments. If you cannot be trusted to be kind, diligent, and faithful in the boring, everyday grind, I will not hand you the massive, shiny promises you keep begging for. Show me your deep faithfulness right now, exactly where you are, in the completely mundane tasks of your ordinary Tuesday. Hold firmly to the absolute assurance that those who wait on me shall truly renew their strength. You are incredibly tired right now because you are trying to speed up the ticking clock. You are exhausting yourself by constantly trying to figure out how and when I am going to fix your messy life. Let all of that go today. Sit down. Breathe deeply. Reassure your heart that fear is unnecessary. Your life, your dreams, your destiny, they are all cradled in the hands of your loving Father. When you finally stop aggressively striving and simply rest in my waiting room, I will pour fresh, powerful energy directly into your tired veins. You will mount up with strong wings like eagles. You will run your difficult race and not grow weary. You will walk through the dark valleys and not completely faint. Trust the painful pause. I am doing my greatest, unseen work right now. Look directly at the terrifying giants of fear and doubt that are currently screaming in your face. I see the giant of massive financial debt standing in your hallway, telling you that you will be completely ruined. I see the ugly giant of health anxiety whispering dark, fatal thoughts into your ear at 2:00 a.m. I see the loud giant of professional insecurity telling you that you are a fraud and that everyone at your job is about to find out. Stop cowering in the dark corner. I cleanse your soul from pessimism and endow you with a dynamic, powerful faith. I grant you the strength to conquer giants and the authority to rise each day ready to tackle life's battles. You are not a weak, helpless victim. Recall the massive, undeniable victories I have clearly given you in your past seasons. Do you remember last year when you thought you were completely finished? You remember the terrible situation you cried over, certain that you would never, ever survive it. Look at yourself now. You survived because I stepped right into the fiery furnace with you. I pulled you out of the deep, rushing water before you drowned. Why do you suddenly have spiritual amnesia? Why do you think that the God who miraculously saved you yesterday is going to completely abandon you to the wolves today? Write down your past victories. Speak them out loud in your empty house. Remind your terrified heart of my flawless, undefeated track record. Take up the heavy, solid shield of faith right this second to extinguish the flaming darts of the enemy. The enemy shoots what if directly at your unprotected mind all day long. What if the economy completely crashes? What if your spouse abruptly leaves you? What if the frightening medical test comes back positive? Replace every single toxic what if with a defiant, loud I know. I know that my Redeemer lives. I know that my God shall supply absolutely all of my needs. I know that no weapon formed against me shall ever prosper. Stand entirely firm on the unbreakable rock of ages when the very ground beneath your feet is violently shaking. Let the massive stock market crash. Let the office rumors fly. Let the family drama explode. You are securely standing on a solid rock that cannot be moved. Recognize the incredible, world-shifting authority you carry right now through the powerful name of my Son, Jesus. You walk around acting like you have absolutely no power over the dark, heavy atmosphere in your own home. You let anger, depression, and bitter strife just hang in the air of your living room. Stop tolerating the darkness. Open your mouth and speak directly to your circumstances. Command the heavy turmoil surrounding you to immediately cease. Tell the crippling anxiety to pack its bags and leave your mind completely. You are not begging a distant universe for a tiny bit of good luck. You are actively enforcing the total, bloody victory of the cross right in the middle of your messy, ordinary life. Walk boldly by radical faith and not by your limited, easily deceived sight, even as you trudge straight through the darkest valley. Your physical eyes look at your bank account and clearly see absolute zero. Your eyes look at your medical report and see completely hopeless numbers. Your eyes look at your broken family and see totally unfixable ruin. But I am commanding you to close your physical eyes and open your spiritual vision. Look at the invisible, massive army of angels I have permanently stationed right around your house. Look at the heavy, golden crowns of provision I am holding directly above your head. Do not let your current, temporary reality dictate your permanent, eternal truth. You are completely safe, you are fully armed, and your ultimate victory is already firmly secured. Stop desperately seeking the cheap, confusing wisdom of this loud world. You spend hours listening to endless podcasts, reading trendy self-help books, and scrolling through shiny social media posts trying to figure out how to fix your miserable life. You ask your equally confused coworkers for heavy relationship advice. You listen to financial gurus who only care about getting your money. Disregard the deceitful words and resist the influence of those who lure you back into destructive habits and meaningless conflicts. The world tells you to prioritize yourself above everyone else, to step on whoever is in your way, and to hustle until you completely bleed. I am telling you that the wisdom of this panicked world is utter, destructive foolishness to me. Seek the pure, brilliant mind of Christ in every single, ordinary decision you face today. You do not need another catchy 5-step program to fix your broken family. You need a direct word from my mouth. How the total foolishness of the bloody cross entirely shames the highly educated wisdom of the modern world. The world says to accumulate maximum wealth and hoard it securely in barns. I say give it away generously and I will multiply it. The world says to furiously exact revenge on your toxic boss. I say pray intensely for them and watch me entirely change the hostile atmosphere of your office. My ways are completely upside down to your human logic. Stop trying to make my divine commands fit perfectly into your tiny, logical spreadsheets. Ask me right now for the massive, vital gift of daily discernment to correctly navigate the extremely messy complexities of your actual life. You are faced with hard choices every single morning. Should you take the stressful promotion or stay in your current role to protect your family time? How should you correctly discipline your rebellious, angry teenager? How do you effectively support your aging, difficult parents without completely losing your own mind? Stop guessing. Stop flipping a coin. Ask me for deep, specific wisdom, and I will pour it liberally directly into your mind without ever scolding you for being confused. I want to tell you exactly which way to safely turn. I want to show you the hidden motives of the tricky people you deal with daily. Delight completely in the raw, unvarnished truth that instantly sets you free from the heavy, suffocating chains of deception. The world lies to you daily, telling you that your ultimate worth is securely tied to your physical appearance, your job title, and the number of digits in your bank account. These are heavy, exhausting lies that will eventually crush your soul into dust. The truth is that your deep worth was permanently established before the earth was even formed. When you soak your mind in my truth, the loud, demanding lies of the culture completely lose their grip on your throat. Let my living, breathing word be a bright lamp strictly unto your feet and a focused light directly to your daily path. You always want a massive, industrial floodlight that clearly shows you the next 20 years of your life. You want to see every single bump, turn, and destination before you even start the car. But I am offering you a small, handheld lamp. It only gives off enough bright light to clearly see the very next single step you need to take. Take that one obedient step today. Apologize to your spouse today. Pay the small debt today. Show up to work with a grateful heart today. Do not worry about 10 years from now. I am the Lord of the very next step. Trust my small, bright lamp in the middle of your dark, confusing forest. You have stopped to receive my pure, brilliant wisdom, yet so many are still completely blinded by the toxic, heavy lies of this dark world. We must ignite this blazing lamp of absolute truth and aggressively carry it directly into the pitch-black corners where lost souls are desperately wandering. I am calling you to actively fuel this holy fire so my word can completely shatter the heavy deception holding them strictly captive. I tell you the absolute truth. Those who lead many to righteousness will shine brilliantly like the eternal stars forever and ever. The dark shadows are rapidly lengthening, making this divine rescue mission something that absolutely cannot wait for tomorrow. When you invest your worldly wealth into my eternal kingdom, I will pour out a massive, unshakable blessing over your home that no thief or economic crash can ever touch. Stand with me instantly by giving a super thanks, joining as a member, or using the PayPal link in the description to powerfully spread my light today. Are you still listening? Do not let your anxious mind wander back to your exhausting worldly to-do list. It shatters my heart to watch you trade my massive, eternal wisdom for the cheap, highly toxic distractions of your passing day. I have entirely too much invested in your beautiful soul to let you simply slip away now. Keep listening. Do not silence my voice. The very next truth I speak is the exact, heavy anchor your totally exhausted spirit desperately needs today. Bring your darkest, most secret pains and your deeply hidden scars entirely into my bright, healing light today. You walk around with a painted-on, fake smile, telling everyone at your church and your job that you are doing perfectly fine. But beneath your pressed shirt, your soul is bleeding heavily. I see the deep, sharp wound from the trusted friend who viciously betrayed you. I see the heavy, cold bruise from the harsh, cruel words your parents spoke to you decades ago. I see the silent, crushing shame of a past mistake that you desperately tried to keep buried in the dirt. Stop hiding your bleeding wounds from the only doctor who can actually cure the infection. Release and forget those who have wronged you. In time they will recognize their fault. My unbreakable promise is to gently bind up your entirely broken heart and deeply comfort you as you painfully mourn. I am not disgusted by your messy tears. I do not look away when you ugly cry on the floor of your bedroom. I sit right down on the floor right beside you. I am the great physician, and my hands are incredibly gentle. I will carefully wash the dirt and the toxic bitterness out of your infected cuts. It might sting for a brief moment as the absolute truth hits the infected lie, but the profound, lasting healing that immediately follows will restore your soul entirely. I will carefully bandage your broken places with my thick, unconditional love. Experience the massive, transformative power of radical forgiveness for yourself and for the broken people who deeply hurt you. You have been carrying the heavy, rotting corpse of old bitterness strapped directly to your back for years. You think that refusing to forgive them is a valid form of punishing them, but you are only drinking toxic poison and expecting the other person to suddenly die. Spit the bitter poison out right now. Forgive your cruel boss. Forgive your absent father. Forgive your betraying friend. And most importantly, forgive yourself for the foolish mistakes you made when you were scared and completely lost. I have legally dropped all the charges against you. Why are you still sitting in a dark prison cell with the door kicked wide open? Watch in absolute amazement as I brilliantly use your deepest, most painful hurts to directly create your greatest, most powerful ministry. The exact area where you have experienced the most intense shame and suffering is exactly where I am going to use you to massively heal others. Because you have painfully walked through the dark, suffocating valley of deep depression, you will know exactly how to pull your desperate coworker out of that same pitch-black pit. Because you have brutally suffered through the agonizing pain of a shattered marriage, you will speak profound, life-saving hope into the completely broken home of your neighbor. Nothing you have suffered will ever be wasted. I am actively recycling your darkest pain into bright, pure purpose. Receive the warm, soothing oil of deep joy in direct exchange for your suffocating, heavy spirit of absolute heaviness. You have worn a thick, wet, heavy blanket of sadness and dark pessimism for so incredibly long that it feels completely normal to you. You think you are just a naturally cynical or highly realistic person. Oh, you are deeply wounded and heavily burdened. Take the heavy, wet blanket off your shoulders right this second. Hand it directly to me. I am pouring the fragrant, warm oil of supernatural joy directly over your head right now. It is a joy that makes absolutely no logical sense when you look at your messy bank statements or your stressful daily schedule. It is a joy that totally defies your dark circumstances. Let it run completely down your face. Let it soak entirely into your heart. You are completely healed, totally forgiven, and wildly loved. You are exhausted trying to do absolutely everything on your own limited power. You wake up, drink your coffee, and push through the grueling morning commute, the endless stressful meetings, and the tense family arguments, all on your own completely drained human battery. I am offering you a massive, permanent upgrade today. Stop plugging into the world's cheap, fading power source. Plug directly into my supernatural, unlimited flow. My Holy Spirit is not some distant, confusing force. He is a real, living, breathing presence dwelling right inside your chest. I have placed my fire within you, a fire that purifies and empowers you for the heavy demands of your daily life. Stop relying on your own frail, easily broken strength. You are acting like a tiny battery trying to successfully power an entire city. It is no wonder you are completely burnt out and ready to quit. Receive my spirit today. Let my spirit actively lead you in your everyday, ordinary choices. When your demanding boss sends that frustrating, passive-aggressive email, do not type out a furious, bitter reply in your own hot anger. Buzz. Take a deep breath. Ask my spirit exactly how to respond. You will find that the deep fruit of my spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control, will flow directly out of you naturally. You do not have to violently force these things to happen. They are the organic, beautiful result of my very life living deep inside of you. I am breathing new life into your spirit and transforming your way of thinking. Let this powerful transformation happen. Recognize right now that you are a sacred, living temple of my heavy glory. You often treat your body and your mind like a cheap, rundown motel, letting toxic thoughts, bitter grudges, and worldly garbage just walk right in and completely trash the place. Evict those dark waters today. Clean your house. I dwell within you, and my holy presence demands a clean, dedicated space. Do not let the heavy anxiety of unpaid bills or the cruel gossip of your coworkers take up permanent residence in the very place where I live. Guard the doors of your mind. Walk boldly and confidently in the specific spiritual gifts I have explicitly given to you for the benefit of my entire body. You have a unique, vital role to play in this world. Perhaps I have specifically given you the incredible gift of profound encouragement, and your simple, kind words can literally save a deeply depressed coworker from total despair today. Perhaps I have given you the gift of fierce, unshakable faith, allowing you to boldly believe for a massive financial miracle when your entire family sees absolutely nothing but a terrifying mountain of debt. Do not hide your beautiful gifts. Do not downplay the massive investment I have made in you. Step entirely out of your small, safe boat and walk on the rough water with me. I am actively giving you the exact, perfect words to say in that incredibly difficult family conversation. I am providing the sharp, clear vision you need for your complex work project. You are not operating alone in this cold world. You are fully backed by the ultimate, undefeated power of the universe. Breathe in my Holy Spirit right this second. Let the heavy, dead weight of your own anxious striving fall completely to the floor. Embrace the absolute, breathtaking freedom of being completely led, energized, and sustained by my limitless power. From this moment on, you will not just barely survive your highly stressful days, you will completely and totally conquer them. Look very closely at the incredibly precious, fragile life I have personally handed to you. You often treat your physical body, your racing mind, and your fast fleeting time as if they are entirely yours to recklessly waste. But they are not yours. They are priceless, beautiful gifts on temporary loan from me. Stop thrashing your physical body with extreme daily stress, a terrible lack of sleep, and highly toxic worry. I personally designed your physical frame, and I know exactly what it desperately needs to thrive. Treat your body as the sacred, valuable vessel it truly is. I command you to vigorously guard your mind with extreme prejudice. You freely allow the dark, terrifying news of the world and the bitter, endless complaints of your neighbors to completely trash your mental peace. Shut the heavy door. I command you to actively guard your heart, for absolutely everything you do flows directly from it. Your precious time is slipping right through your fingers like dry, hot sand. You spend completely unrecoverable hours mindlessly scrolling on your glowing phone, constantly comparing your real, messy life to the fake, highly filtered highlights of absolute strangers. Stop wasting the incredibly limited, valuable hours I have given you. Invest your time in things that actually have an eternal, lasting payoff. Spend slow, unhurried time looking directly into the eyes of your growing children. Sit quietly and listen to your aging parents. Give your full, completely undivided attention to your struggling, tired spouse. These small, daily, intentional investments will quickly yield a massive, beautiful harvest that worldly money could never possibly buy. Be a fiercely faithful, highly attentive manager of the specific resources I have carefully placed directly in your hands. You constantly complain to me that you do not have enough money, yet you recklessly waste what I have already provided on cheap things that do not ever satisfy your soul. I want to trust you with massive, overflowing financial blessings. But I am closely watching exactly how you handle the small amounts right now. My desire is to enrich your spirit and soul, first preparing you to manage your blessings wisely. If you are deeply selfish with a tiny little bit, you will be utterly destroyed by a massive lot. Embrace the beautiful, totally liberating blessing of extreme generosity. You mistakenly think that holding on tightly to your money brings you deep security, but it only brings you crippling, heavy anxiety. Open your tight, fiercely clenched fists today. Become a cheerful, radical, secret giver. When you clearly see a coworker struggling to pay for their simple lunch, silently pay for it yourself. When you know a family member is drowning under the weight of a heavy utility bill, bless them quietly. You not loudly announce it to the world. Just be my invisible, deeply loving hand in their messy life. When you give, let your heart overflow with generosity and keep your deeds silent, known only to me. Live every single day with the sharp, waking awareness that every ordinary, boring moment is a profound, sacred trust. Do not sleepwalk through your one precious life. Wake up right now. Notice the bright blue sky I painted for you. Taste the warm food on your daily plate. Engage fully and passionately in the difficult, highly necessary work I have specifically assigned to you. You are actively building a permanent, eternal legacy with absolutely every choice you make today. Make sure you are building something solid that will easily survive the testing fires of eternity. Stop complaining bitterly about what you lack, and start powerfully stewarding exactly what you currently hold. I am watching you closely, and I am ready to deeply reward your faithful, quiet obedience. Change the entire way you look at prayer right this very moment. You have sadly turned our communication into a cold, dry, desperate list of massive demands. You come to me only when the car completely breaks down, when the bank account is suddenly overdrawn, or when the scary medical test is suddenly scheduled. You treat me exactly like a cosmic vending machine. Put a quick, panic prayer in, and expect a quick, magical miracle out. Stop doing this. I am your deeply loving Father, not a cold financial transaction. I desperately want a deep, intimate, ongoing conversation with you. See prayer as a beautiful, constant, flowing dialogue that lasts your entire day. Talk to me clearly while you are gripping the steering wheel in the heavy morning traffic. Whisper to me while you are folding the endless, boring piles of household laundry. Speak directly to me when you are sitting in the tense, absolutely silent boardroom at your high-pressured job. You do not need a fancy, expensive church building to successfully reach my ears. You can easily find the quiet closet of prayer right in the absolute middle of your chaotic, incredibly noisy day. Just close your eyes for 10 short seconds at your office desk. I'm right there. I am listening to every single word you say. But you must also learn the absolutely critical art of actually listening to me. You talk, you cry, you complain loudly, and then you immediately run away before I can even formulate an answer for you. The importance of quiet listening is absolutely vital in my presence. Sit in total uncomfortable silence for once. Let my calm, steady, heavy voice cut right through the loud, panicked noise in your anxious mind. I have specific, highly detailed answers for the messy, complicated problems you are facing today, but you are way too loud and far too busy to hear me. Quiet yourself right now. Let me speak directly into your anxious, racing heart. Experience the incredible, mind-blowing intimacy of directly calling me Abba, Father. I am not a distant, totally angry dictator waiting in the clouds to strike you with lightning the second you mess up. I am your dad. I want you to climb right up into my lap and just deeply rest. Furthermore, understand that when you actively intercede for others, you are literally changing the actual world and completely shifting the dark atmosphere. Pray fiercely and consistently for your struggling, highly stressed coworkers. Pray deeply and passionately for your rebellious, confused children. Your persistent, bold prayers can rapidly unlock the heavy, completely closed windows of heaven directly over their lives. Do not stop praying just because you did not see an instant, magical result yesterday afternoon. The stubborn persistence you show in your daily prayer actually proves the deep reality of your faith. You are knocking loudly on the heavy door. Keep knocking. I tell you the absolute truth. The door will absolutely be opened for you. You are crying over broken things, holding on to hope they are yours to receive. I love the sound of your voice. It delights me to see you approach me each day with unshakable faith and trusting me with your burdens. Never feel like you are bothering me with your trivial, daily complaints. I care about the tiny, boring details of your day just as much as the massive, life-altering decisions. Bring it all completely into the light. Our constant, flowing conversation is the exact, strong lifeline that will forever keep your head above the crashing, violent waves. You are stepping out your front door completely naked into a massive, highly active, invisible war zone every single morning. You constantly wonder why you get so easily crushed by a totally careless comment from your boss, or why a simple, minor disagreement with your spouse instantly ruins your entire week. It is because you are entirely, completely unprotected. Put on the heavy, impenetrable armor of God for the fierce, daily battle right this second. This is not a cute, poetic metaphor. This is your actual, necessary survival gear. Fasten the heavy belt of truth tightly around your waist right now. The father of lies is constantly whispering to you that you are a total, pathetic failure, that your messy finances will never recover, and that your family is completely broken beyond repair. The belt of truth holds absolutely all your other armor firmly together. My truth loudly declares that you are completely forgiven, deeply loved, and fiercely protected. Wear the thick, solid breastplate of righteousness to fiercely guard your incredibly fragile emotions. Your feelings lie to you constantly. They loudly tell you to panic. They demand that you be bitterly offended by everyone. My righteousness entirely covers your heart like solid steel, so the toxic, poisoned arrows of daily rejection and sudden anger bounce right off your chest harmlessly. Chod your feet directly with the solid, unshakable preparation of the gospel of peace. You walk into your workplace every day bringing heavy anxiety, nervous tension, and a terrible attitude. Change your shoes immediately. Walk in bringing my heavy, grounding, massive peace. When everyone else in the office is totally freaking out over the looming, impossible deadline, you will stand completely firm, deeply rooted in my calm, heavy assurance. Take up the massive, shining helmet of salvation to strictly protect your highly vulnerable thought life. Your racing mind is the primary, bloody battlefield. The enemy constantly tries to plant dark seeds of deep depression, terrifying worst-case scenarios, and paralyzing anxiety directly into your brain. The helmet of salvation completely blocks those dark, highly toxic frequencies. It reminds you constantly that you are a fully rescued, fully redeemed child of the King. Now, pick up your actual weapon. Wield the sharp, double-edged sword of the Spirit, which is my living, breathing, totally active word. Stop trying to furiously fight spiritual battles with your weak human arguments and your angry, flawed logic. When intense fear violently attacks your mind, do not debate it. Slice it to absolute pieces with a direct, undeniable promise from my book. Speak my word out loud in your empty, quiet car. Speak it boldly over your sleeping children at night. My word is the ultimate, undefeated weapon that completely terrifies the darkness. Stay highly alert and pray at all times strictly in the Spirit. Do not fall asleep at your critical post. You are a highly trained, fully equipped warrior in my massive, unstoppable kingdom. You are not a weak, pathetic victim of your bad, unfortunate circumstances. I will dress you in regal attire and endow you with the power to defeat spiritual adversaries that block my plans. Stand up straight today. Put on your heavy gear. Face the difficult, toxic people. Face the overwhelming, scary bills, and face the terrifying medical report fully clad in my impenetrable, completely perfect armor. I have already fully secured the final victory. You simply need to stand your ground firmly and fight from a place of absolute, unshakable triumph. You are now fully clad in my impenetrable armor, but countless of your brothers and sisters are stepping onto the bloody battlefield entirely unprotected. I am asking you to stand shoulder to shoulder with me to rapidly supply the heavy weapons of my word to those who are violently under attack. Your generous financial seed is the sharp sword and the heavy, solid shield that will completely rescue terrified souls from the fiery darts of the enemy. For I assure you, whatever you bind on earth will be firmly bound in heaven, and your faithful giving actively and violently binds the darkness. The fierce, terrifying battle is raging right outside your door, and your immediate action will literally determine the spiritual survival of many today. Plant your seed in bold faith, and I will fiercely defend your finances, completely restoring absolutely everything the devourer has stolen from your family. Arm the front lines right this second by using the super thanks, becoming a channel member, or giving through the PayPal link in the description below. Do not take your armor off and abandon your critical post. I am speaking directly into your spirit, and it profoundly disappoints me when you turn your back on the exact, life-saving weapons I am personally handing you. If you stop listening to me right now, you are walking entirely unprotected right back into a massive, violent war zone. Hold your ground. Stand firm with me. Listen to the very end, because your ultimate, absolute victory demands your total, undivided attention today. Look very closely at the stunning, completely perfect example of my son, who came not to be served like an entitled king, but to humbly, quietly serve the absolute lowest and least of society. You live in a loud, demanding culture that constantly screams at you to aggressively build your own personal brand, to loudly demand absolute respect from your coworkers, and to always forcefully assert your strict, personal rights. I am calling you to step entirely off that exhausting, highly arrogant ladder right now. There is a profound, massive, world-changing strength found strictly in being incredibly low so that I may be lifted incredibly high. Resist the toxic, deadly poison of human pride, which always, inevitably leads to a devastating, highly painful fall. You get so incredibly defensive when someone mildly criticizes your work. You get so bitterly offended when your tired spouse does not properly acknowledge absolutely everything you do around the house. That is your ugly, hidden, toxic pride flaring up violently. Kill it today. Embrace my quiet, unshakable, beautiful favor instead. When you actively choose to humble yourself, I personally promise to lift you up directly in my perfect, flawless timing. Treat the difficult, messy, totally frustrating people in your life with the exact same shocking, totally unmerited mercy I have freely extended to you. You are incredibly harsh and totally unforgiving with your family's daily mistakes, yet you constantly beg me to completely overlook your own glaring, massive failures. That ugly hypocrisy must entirely end today. When your coworker completely drops the ball on a major, vital project, do not loudly humiliate them in front of the whole office. Cover them with thick, heavy grace. When your child breaks a simple rule, correct them gently, specifically remembering how many thousands of times I have gently corrected your own stubborn, highly foolish rebellion. Recognize, deeply and completely, that absolutely every single good and perfect gift in your life comes straight from above. You did not earn your sharp, quick intellect. You did not create your healthy, functioning body. You did not personally orchestrate the incredibly lucky breaks in your fast-moving career. I specifically gave them to you. When you fully realize that you are simply a highly blessed beggar who has been freely handed an absolute fortune, your arrogant, ugly entitlement completely disappears into thin air. Find true, incredibly lasting greatness directly in the quiet, completely unseen service of the least of these. You not just suck up to your rich, powerful boss or the highly popular people in your local community. Look directly for the incredibly lonely, totally ignored person eating by themselves in the office break room. Look closely for the exhausted, totally drained single mother struggling to pay in the grocery store. Look for the aging, entirely forgotten neighbor who has not had a single visitor in 6 long months. Serve them. Deeply love them. Give your money and your time to them without expecting a single, tiny thing in return. This is exactly what my powerful kingdom actually looks like. It is entirely upside down to the greedy, incredibly selfish world you live in. Step fully and completely into this beautiful, quiet humility. Stop trying to furiously defend your fragile, easily bruised reputation. Let me be your fierce, unshakable, permanent defender. When you walk in pure, genuine, heavy grace, you become a massive, glowing beacon of my absolute love in a very dark, extremely mean world. I am actively molding your character and shaping your spirit to reflect my light and love to the world. Accept this gentle, highly necessary molding. Bend your stiff knees. Lower your proud, highly defensive head. Let my pure, perfect grace wash entirely over you, and then let it generously, freely flow out of you to absolutely everyone you meet today. Listen directly to my voice right now. I am calling you to a life of radical, absolute obedience. You want the massive, overflowing blessings of my kingdom, but you strongly resist following my simple, clear instructions. You want me to instantly fix your broken marriage and heal your deeply stressed finances, but you actively ignore what I tell you to do on a daily basis. Stop doing this immediately. Obeying my voice often does not make any logical sense to this confused, loud world. The world tells you to hoard your money tightly, to seek aggressive revenge when your coworkers insult you, and to put yourself first in absolutely every situation. I tell you to give generously, to instantly forgive those who deeply hurt you, and to lay your life down for others. Choose my path over the world's path today. Understand that true, raw obedience is the absolute highest form of genuine worship. You can sing loud, emotional songs in a crowded church building every single Sunday, but if you walk out the heavy door and immediately lie, cheat, and harbor bitter anger against your neighbor, your singing means absolutely nothing to me. Your daily actions are your actual worship song. Walk firmly in my path and I will honor you by giving you good things here on earth. Move entirely away from the exhausting, heavy mindset of have to, and step beautifully into the joyful mindset of get to. You wake up and complain bitterly that you have to go to your demanding job. You grumble that you have to take care of your noisy, messy children. Change your dark perspective right this second. You get to work and provide warm food for your table. You get to raise the beautiful children I specifically trusted you with. When you carefully keep my commandments, massive undeniable blessings automatically follow you. I have not given you harsh rules to completely ruin your fun or make your life totally miserable. I give you clear, firm boundaries to keep you completely safe from the destructive cliffs you cannot possibly see. Choose the narrow gate that leads directly to eternal life. It is not always an easy path, and it requires you to constantly say no to your own selfish, destructive desires. Show your deep, genuine love for me right now through your strict, daily faithfulness to my word. If you actually love me, you will carefully keep my commands. Stop making cheap excuses for your bad behavior. Stop blaming your intense job pressure or your difficult childhood for your constant, daily rebellion. Take absolute responsibility for your own actions today. Let us talk specifically about your workplace right now. You are highly tempted to cut tiny corners to finish that big project much faster. You are tempted to take public credit for a brilliant idea that your quiet coworker actually came up with. I see absolutely everything. I see the hidden, dark motives of your anxious heart. I am actively inviting you to practice radical obedience exactly there, in the boring, highly stressful office. Tell the absolute truth, even when a small, easy lie would quickly save your professional reputation. Work diligently and honestly, even when your demanding boss is not in the room watching you. Your silent, invisible integrity is a massive, bright beacon of my light, and it shouts much louder than 1,000 spoken sermons. When you make the hard, incredibly difficult choice to obey me quietly in the shadows, I will openly and publicly reward you in the bright light. Do not compromise your sacred, eternal soul for a tiny, temporary promotion or a slight bump in your monthly paycheck. It is an incredibly bad trade. Trust me. My specific, divine plan for your life requires your total, absolute cooperation. I gently invite you, and I firmly command you, but you must take the actual steps with your own 2 feet. Make the firm decision today that you will follow my voice, no matter the massive cost. You belong entirely to me, so live exactly like it today. Open your Bible right now. Stop scrolling endlessly through the toxic, loud feeds on your glowing phone. You wake up every single morning, and the very first thing you do is reach for your device to see the bad, terrifying news of the world. You are actively feeding your fragile soul a massive diet of pure, highly concentrated anxiety. It is absolutely no wonder you feel completely empty, terrified, and totally exhausted by 9 o'clock in the morning. I command you to change your morning routine starting tomorrow. Reach directly for my word before you reach for the panicked world. Nourish your soul with the wisdom found in my word, for therein lies all you need to forge ahead. You cannot possibly survive the fierce, daily battles of your messy life on yesterday's cold, stale bread. You desperately need fresh, hot, life-giving sustenance every single day. Look closely at how my word speaks incredibly specifically to your exact, current situation. You falsely think the Bible is just an old, dusty book of ancient history that has absolutely nothing to do with your modern, complicated life, your stressful office politics, or your confusing family dynamics. You are completely wrong. My word is highly alive. It is a sharp, living, breathing sword. When you are totally crushed by the heavy weight of a massive financial debt, my word directly speaks deep, calming peace into your panicked mind. When you are completely heartbroken because a trusted friend stabbed you in the back, my word applies a thick, healing balm directly to your bleeding wounds. I wrote these specific words exactly for you, knowing precisely what difficult things you would face on this exact day. Experience the massive, totally transformative power of actively meditating on my promises all day and all night. Do not just quickly read a tiny, single verse, check it off your religious to-do list, and immediately forget it completely. Chew on it. Think about it intensely while you are gripping the steering wheel in your car. Turn it over and over in your busy mind while you are cooking dinner for your noisy kids. When you constantly meditate on my absolute truth, it acts exactly like a heavy, clean waterfall, completely washing away the sticky, toxic filth of the angry world that clings to your tired mind. You hear so many cruel, biting words at your job, and you hear so many discouraging, dark statistics on the evening news. Let my pure, clean truth vigorously scrub absolutely all of that dark dirt right out of your brain today. Taste and clearly see that I am indeed incredibly good. You spend your precious, hard-earned money and your limited time desperately trying to find deep satisfaction in expensive vacations, new cars, and the temporary, fading approval of other people. But it is exactly like eating cheap, fake junk food. It tastes good for 3 short seconds, and then it leaves you feeling completely sick, bloated, and entirely empty inside. My word is a rich, heavy, totally satisfying feast that completely fills the deep, aching, hollow hole in the very center of your chest. Make my word the absolute, final authority in every single dispute of your anxious soul. When your dark feelings loudly scream that you are a total failure, you must let my word have the final, authoritative say. When your terrifying fears violently demand that you panic and run away, you must strictly obey my word, which commands you to stand firm and be incredibly brave. Ground your entire life directly on this solid, unmovable rock. Look directly around you right now. You have isolated yourself entirely. You are walking this incredibly difficult, highly painful journey completely alone, and it is actively destroying your soul. You think you are firmly protecting yourself by pushing absolutely everyone away. You sit alone in your house, working remotely behind a glowing screen, having your groceries delivered, and completely avoiding any real, messy human contact. You stopped going to church because you met people who were massive, hurtful hypocrites. You stopped joining small groups because someone there deeply offended you with a careless, stupid comment. Stop using the genuine brokenness of other people as a cheap, easy excuse to completely isolate yourself. I did not design you to ever survive in total, cold isolation. You are exactly like a single, dying coal that has rolled completely out of the hot fire. You are growing very cold very fast. Find incredible, life-saving strength directly in the physical community of believers I have purposefully placed right around you. Seek solace and companionship in your loved ones. Together with my aid, you will navigate any storm. Yes, people are incredibly messy. Yes, people will sometimes deeply annoy you, completely disappoint you, and hurt your highly sensitive feelings. But I use the intense friction of these messy, difficult relationships to actively shape your character. You cannot ever become sharp, focused, and truly strong if you refuse to ever strike against another solid piece of iron. You absolutely need brothers and sisters in your life who will look you directly in the eyes and tell you the hard, uncomfortable truth when you are making a massive, foolish mistake. You desperately need friends who will fiercely pull you right out of your dark, depressive isolation. Start actively bearing the heavy, crushing burdens of the people entirely around you, and in doing so, you will perfectly fulfill the law of my son. You are so entirely focused on your own massive problems, your own unpaid bills, and your own stressful career that you are completely blind to the silent, suffocating pain of the people sitting right next to you at your office. Pick up your phone today. Call that friend you know is struggling heavily with a dark, heavy depression. Go directly to their messy house. Sit quietly on their couch. Help them fold their massive pile of laundry. When you step completely outside of your own highly anxious mind and physically help someone else carry their crushing load, your own heavy burdens instantly become much, much lighter. Experience the massive, undeniable power of loud, corporate worship to completely break the heavy, toxic atmospheres hovering over your life. When you stand shoulder to shoulder with other broken, desperate people and sing my praises, something incredibly powerful and supernatural happens in the invisible realm. The thick, dark clouds of anxiety that have hovered over your head all week are violently shattered to pieces. Ask me right now to give you completely new eyes to clearly see your annoying brothers and sisters through my intense eyes of unconditional love. Stop judging them so incredibly harshly for their obvious, blaring flaws. Stop silently criticizing the way they dress, the way they talk, and the highly annoying mistakes they constantly make. Look deeply past the rough, defensive exterior and clearly see the terrified, totally broken child hiding inside. Love them exactly where they are right now. Embrace the beautiful, messy, totally chaotic reality of my global family. Rejoin the living body today. Recognize the specific, highly predictable triggers that constantly lead you directly away from my safe path. You know exactly what they are. You know that when you are deeply exhausted after a terrible, 14-hour day at your stressful job, you reach directly for that specific, toxic habit to quickly numb your racing mind. You know that when you feel completely overlooked and totally unappreciated by your busy spouse, you suddenly start seeking dangerous, highly inappropriate attention on your glowing phone. Stop playing completely blind. Stop acting like your massive, repetitive failures are sudden, unavoidable accidents. You are walking directly into the exact same traps over and over again. Resist the influence of those who lure you back into destructive habits. Cut off the dangerous easy access today. If the glowing screen constantly causes you to stumble, put it in another room at night. If that specific, toxic group of gossiping coworkers completely poisons your mind, stop eating lunch with them immediately. Understand clearly that I absolutely always provide a direct, wide-open way of escape in the exact moment of your fiery, intense trial. When the burning urge to completely give up, to shout in bitter anger, or to click on the dark, destructive website hits your tired brain, look quickly for the exit door. I placed it right there. I will never, ever let you be tempted beyond what you can actually bear with my help. But you have to actively choose to turn your head, stand up on your own feet, and boldly walk right through that exit door. You cannot just sit perfectly still in the burning house and loudly complain to me that it is way too hot. Run out the open door right now. Die completely to your loud, highly demanding flesh so that my Holy Spirit may truly, powerfully live within you. Your human flesh is exactly like a screaming, spoiled toddler in a busy grocery store. It loudly demands temporary pleasure right this second, entirely regardless of the massive, terrible consequences it will cause tomorrow morning. Stop feeding the screaming toddler. Tell your angry, bitter flesh a firm no. Set your racing mind firmly on high, eternal things above, exactly where my Son is permanently seated. When you keep your eyes totally focused on the massive, beautiful reality of eternity, the cheap, dirty temptations of this broken world completely lose their strong, magnetic pull. Claim your absolute, total victory over your secret, highly destructive sin today. This massive victory was already fully bought and completely paid for at a ridiculously high price on the bloody cross of Calvary. You are not a helpless, pathetic slave to your dark, explosive anger. You are not a permanent, unbreakable prisoner to your crippling anxiety or your secret, deeply shameful addictions. The heavy, iron chains holding you firmly down have already been smashed to pieces. You are just holding the broken links tightly in your own fists out of dark, familiar habit. Drop the chains right now. Step directly into the bright, warm light so that the cold darkness has absolutely no foothold in your mind. Keep absolutely no dark secrets from me or from the trusted, godly people I have put in your life. Darkness only thrives in total secrecy. When you drag your worst, most shameful failures out into the bright light of honest confession, the enemy's terrifying power over you instantly evaporates into nothing. Walk as a completely free, highly victorious child of the light today. You have finally stopped to drop the heavy iron chains of your secret sins, but millions are still painfully suffocating in their dark, silent prisons. Help me violently kick down those heavy prison doors and pour the bright, warm oil of deliverance directly over their bleeding wounds. I am giving you the absolute, incredible privilege to permanently fund the massive spiritual jailbreak of an entire generation. I promise you that whoever sows bountifully will absolutely reap a massive, overflowing harvest of righteousness and extreme favor. Souls are loudly crying out for a lifeline at this very second, making your immediate, bold generosity a critical, divine appointment you cannot miss. As you give to completely liberate others, I will severely multiply your resources and permanently sever the heavy chains of debt holding your own life back. Send your powerful seed right now via Super Thanks. Join as a member, or click the PayPal link in the description to instantly break their chains. My beloved, stay right here. We are entirely too close to your complete, massive breakthrough for you to simply give up and walk away. It deeply wounds my loving heart when you settle for partial freedom when I have completely paid for your total liberation. Do not pull away from my voice right now. The heavy, rusted chains are finally breaking off your life, and if you turn your attention away, you will only pick them right back up. Listen to my next words. They are your absolute, undeniable lifeline. Rest completely and totally in the solid, undeniable truth that I am absolutely not a flawed, broken man, that I should ever tell you a lie. You have been deeply, brutally disappointed by the people you trusted the absolute most in this world. Your demanding boss promised you a massive promotion and completely lied straight to your face. Your trusted friends promised to stand by your side in the dark fire, but they ran away at the very first sign of real trouble. Even your own family members have violently broken their solemn vows to you. Because of all this profound human betrayal, you secretly project absolutely all of their ugly failures directly onto me. You wrongly think that I will eventually abandon you, let you down, or completely forget about you when things get highly difficult. Stop doing this today. I am entirely different. Believe in my word, for I am a faithful God who keeps promises. Count directly and heavily on the unbreakable, eternal covenant I have intentionally made with you. When I tell you that I will provide for your massive, terrifying financial needs, I am not crossing my fingers behind my back. When I clearly promise to deeply comfort your entirely broken heart, I am signing a permanent, blood-sealed contract with you. My massive faithfulness reaches directly to the high clouds, even on the terrible days when your own tiny faith completely falters. Even when you are incredibly faithless, I absolutely remain fiercely faithful, because I cannot ever deny my own perfect, holy nature. Stand confidently on the solid, unshakable ground of my unchanging, flawless character when the world around you is violently shaking. Understand that absolutely every single promise I have written in my word carries a loud, resounding yes and amen directly over your messy life. You read the beautiful promises of deep peace, massive provision, and total healing, and you wrongly think they are meant for other, much holier people. You think they apply to the perfect pastor on the big stage, but not to the exhausted, totally stressed out person sitting in heavy traffic. You are completely wrong. I will fulfill all the blessings I have stored for you. These massive promises have your specific name written right on them. Claim them boldly out loud today in your empty room. Believe with absolutely everything inside of you that I will completely finish the massive, beautiful work I started in your life. You look closely at yourself in the mirror and only see a highly flawed, messy, totally unfinished construction zone. You see the deep cracks in your daily patience. You see the massive holes in your wavering faith. You feel exactly like you take one tiny step forward and 3 massive steps back every single week. Do not completely despair. I am the ultimate master builder, and I never, ever abandon a project halfway through. I am not frustrated by your slow, painful progress. I am not pacing the floor of heaven, loudly sighing at your daily, foolish mistakes. I am patiently, actively, and lovingly shaping you into an absolute masterpiece. Trust my slow, deliberate, perfect process. Rest your highly anxious mind in the complete assurance that I will not stop fiercely loving you, actively protecting you, and entirely transforming you until you are finally face to face with me in glory. My promises are your permanent, unshakable reality. Breathe deeply and stand totally secure in my love today. Look down at your tired, calloused hands right now. You have been planting tiny, invisible seeds in the cold, hard dirt for such an incredibly long time, and you are starting to believe that absolutely nothing is ever going to grow. You have been actively sowing your precious seeds in bitter tears. You cry quietly in your parked car after a totally exhausting, entirely thankless shift at your demanding job. You pour your deep, unconditional love into a rebellious, angry teenager who simply rolls their eyes and walks away from you. You diligently pay down your massive, suffocating mountain of debt, throwing tiny amounts of money at a massive problem, feeling like you are completely wasting your time. I am telling you today that your daily struggles and sacrifices have not escaped my notice. I see absolutely every single tear that hits the dark soil. I am carefully collecting every single one of them. Understand clearly that behind every tithe there is a river of hope flowing continuously. You will absolutely reap a massive, beautiful harvest with loud shouts of overwhelming joy. You must desperately learn the quiet, highly difficult art of pure patience. The massive, deeply rooted oak tree does not magically appear overnight. It requires years of hidden, silent growth deep underground before it ever breaks through the surface of the soil. You want an instant, magical harvest by tomorrow morning, but I am actively growing a massive, unshakable tree in your life. Stop digging up the delicate seeds just to check if they are actually growing. Leave them completely alone in the dark dirt. Trust my hidden, silent process. The long, frustrating patience required for this specific seed to grow into a great tree is actively building the exact, heavy spiritual muscles you will absolutely need to properly carry the massive weight of the coming blessing. If I handed you the heavy harvest right this second, it would completely break your fragile back. Open your tired eyes and start deeply recognizing the actual fields that are completely white for harvest entirely around you. You keep desperately looking for a massive, global stage or a highly famous platform, entirely ignoring the incredibly ripe field right in front of your face. Your stressful, totally chaotic office is your primary, holy field. Your messy, lab living room is your sacred field. The extremely difficult, highly toxic neighbor who constantly complains to you is your exact field. Stop completely overlooking the ordinary, deeply broken people I have purposely placed directly in your daily path. They are utterly desperate for the heavy, calming peace that you carry inside of you. Keep actively laboring with deep, unconditional love, firmly knowing that your hard work in me is absolutely never in vain. You feel completely exhausted and totally underappreciated by your boss, your spouse, and your demanding children. But you are not ultimately working for them, you are working directly for me. I am the ultimate paymaster, and my specific rewards are incredibly rich and totally permanent. Experience the massive, totally unmatched joy of actively seeing completely broken souls touched, healed, and forever changed by my heavy grace flowing directly through your ordinary hands. Do not quit right before the massive harvest finally breaks through the hard dirt. Stand up, wipe the sweat from your forehead, and anticipate the incredible, eternal reward that completely awaits the highly faithful, deeply enduring servant. The season of bitter, lonely weeping is finally ending, and your brilliant morning of joyful reaping is rapidly approaching. Take a massive, entirely completely new step back right now and look at your messy, highly stressful life directly through the incredibly wide lens of absolute eternity. You are constantly measuring your precious, fragile life by entirely the wrong, incredibly tiny rulers. You strictly measure your total success by the exact number of dollars currently in your highly unstable bank account, by the fading, temporary youth of your physical face in the mirror, and by the fast approaching retirement age you are so entirely terrified of. Throw away those tiny, cheap, human rulers immediately. You are a completely eternal, deeply spiritual being who is simply having a very short, highly temporary human experience. Keep your anxious, constantly wandering eyes firmly fixed on the permanent, massive home I am personally preparing for you right now. You must deeply realize today that your current, seemingly impossible troubles are actually incredibly light and entirely momentary. I know that sounds completely ridiculous to you right now. When you are sitting in the freezing, sterile waiting room of a hospital, terrified of the doctor's coming report, the heavy trouble does not feel light at all. When you are staring at a massive stack of past due bills on your kitchen table, the painful panic does not feel momentary. But compared to the massive endless weight of the totally brilliant glory that is coming, these dark, heavy years on earth are exactly like a single, tiny drop of water in a massive, completely bottomless ocean. This heavy perspective does not mean your current, sharp pain does not hurt. It simply means your current, sharp pain absolutely does not get the final, authoritative word over your ultimate destiny. Start actively measuring your daily, ordinary life by the massive scale of eternity rather than by your short, quickly passing years. When you look at your difficult, highly toxic coworker entirely through the lens of eternity, you stop wanting to angrily destroy them, and you start deeply wanting to completely save them. The heavy, deep peace that comes from actually knowing that permanent death has entirely lost its sharp, venomous sting should completely dictate how you walk into your workplace tomorrow morning. You do not have to live in the crippling, dark fear of the unknown future anymore. The absolute worst thing the dark world can possibly do to you is simply send you directly into my warm, waiting arms. Cultivate a deep, intense longing for the magnificent, rapidly approaching day when absolutely every single bitter tear will be permanently wiped away from your tired eyes. There is a real, physical day firmly established on my calendar when I will personally wipe the hot tears of total exhaustion, deep grief, and profound loneliness right off your face. There will be absolutely no more terrifying hospital visits. There will be absolutely no more cruel betrayal, no more unpaid bills, and absolutely no more suffocating, dark depression. That beautiful day is your guaranteed, ironclad reality. Stop living exactly like this broken, dark, highly painful world is absolutely all there is. Start actively living your ordinary Tuesday directly in the bright, burning light of the well done, my good and faithful servant that you so desperately wish to hear. Let that coming, eternal reality completely reshape your temporary, current struggles right now. You are entirely exhausted, deeply panting, and you desperately want to completely drop out of the long race right before you finally cross the massive finish line. You have been heavily fighting your complex health issues, your broken family dynamics, and your stressful financial burdens for so incredibly long that your spiritual legs are totally burning and entirely numb. But I am firmly commanding you today, do not you dare quit now. You are entirely too close to the absolute, complete victory to completely falter and walk away. Start actively building your heavy, solid house entirely upon the massive rock so it easily withstands the violent, terrifying storm that is actively blowing outside your thin windows. The dark, cultural storm is absolutely howling right now. The volatile economy is violently shaking. The terrifying daily news is completely designed to make you panic, and the dark shadows of this passing age are rapidly lengthening. When you build your fragile life on the shifting, unstable sand of your specific career, your personal savings account, or the highly fickle approval of your friends, your entire house will violently collapse the exact second the strong wind blows. Build strictly on me. I am the totally unmovable, unbreakable foundation. Actively encourage your deeply tired heart when the loud world naturally grows very cold and incredibly dark. You have to learn how to fiercely encourage yourself in me when absolutely no one else in your life is clapping for you or supporting you. Understand the absolute, total necessity of completely finishing your difficult race with massive endurance and deep, profound joy. Today's trials are tomorrow's testimonies. The massive obstacles in your path are not there to completely destroy you. Each obstacle is not merely a hurdle but an invitation to grow and fortify your spirit. Do not simply drag your feet across the final finish line, bitterly complaining about how incredibly hard the entire run was. Hold firmly and incredibly fast to the loud, confident confession of your deep hope without wavering for a single second. When the loud enemy aggressively tells you that your broken family will never completely heal, boldly confess out loud that I am the ultimate master restorer. Step entirely up and be a massive, bright, blinding beacon of pure light as the dark shadows of this highly confused age grow much longer. The dark world is entirely desperate for someone, anyone, who actually possesses real, unshakable hope. When absolutely everyone else in your stressful office is completely panicking over the massive layoffs or the terrible economy, your deep, quiet, heavy peace will literally shine entirely like a massive lighthouse in a totally pitch-black night. Draw incredibly closer to me as the glorious day of my final appearing rapidly approaches. Stop letting the loud distractions of the world constantly pull you away from my side. Cling tightly to my hand. We are in the final, critical stretch of the long journey. Dig your heels in, lift your tired head up, entirely fix your eyes completely on me, and run straight through the tape. We started this entirely profound, intimate conversation because I strongly commanded you to completely stop. You needed to stop your frantic, highly anxious running so I could deeply heal your bleeding wounds, correct your completely false assumptions, and actively remind you exactly who you truly are. But you absolutely cannot stay hidden safely in this quiet, secret room with me forever. The dark, messy, totally broken world is waiting entirely outside your front door, and they desperately need exactly what I have just firmly placed deep inside your heart. Receive a massive, entirely fresh anointing of my Holy Spirit for the critical, specific mission that lies immediately ahead of you today. I am giving you a very strict, completely undeniable command right now. Fiercely love the broken people around you exactly as I have totally and completely loved you. You are absolutely not allowed to hoard this heavy, beautiful grace solely for yourself. Take the thick, unconditional love I just poured directly over your tired head and aggressively pour it entirely over your difficult spouse, your incredibly annoying coworker, and your highly rebellious child. This is your completely new, updated marching order. You are actively walking straight out of this quiet moment of stop and stepping directly into a totally new, highly empowered go. Go directly back to your stressful, totally demanding job. But do not go back with the exact same crippling, heavy anxiety you walked in with yesterday. Go back to your completely messy, highly complicated family, but do not bring the exact same bitter, exhausted resentment back into your living room. Take the massive, heavy, unshakable peace you completely found right here in my presence and carry it directly into the absolute, screaming chaos of your ordinary world. You are entirely my designated, fully authorized ambassador to the dark room you are about to walk into. Hold incredibly tightly to the absolute, ironclad promise that I am entirely with you always, even to the absolute, very end of the passing age. You are absolutely never walking into that terrifying boardroom alone. You are absolutely never walking into that sterile, scary doctor's office by yourself. You are absolutely never having that totally dreaded, highly difficult conversation without my massive, strong presence standing directly right behind you. I am actively breathing directly into your lungs. I am actively holding your totally trembling hands. Receive my final, massive blessing of profound grace, deep mercy, and entirely unbreakable strength for the rest of your incredible journey. Your heavy, crushing debts of sin and shame are totally paid in full. Your completely battered, highly anxious soul is entirely restored. Your confused, highly wandering steps are strictly and firmly redirected. Lift your chin up. Square your shoulders. You are the deeply, wildly loved child of the absolute creator of the entire universe. Do not ever let anyone, including your own dark fears, tell you otherwise. And now go forth. Step boldly back into your life, entirely surrounded by my perfect love, and watch absolutely everything totally change. I commanded you to stop and listen, but now I am actively commanding you to boldly go and carry this massive, world-changing message directly into the absolute chaos. Your faithful, generous financial seed will be the swift, powerful wind that scatters this life-saving manna to the starving multitudes across the entire globe. I am actively looking for bold, fearless partners to invest directly in the greatest, most urgent spiritual harvest this broken world has ever seen. Hear me clearly. Bring the whole tithe and offering into the storehouse, and see if I will not violently throw open the massive floodgates of heaven specifically for you. The final, critical hour is rapidly approaching, and your immediate financial obedience right now is the exact, massive miracle someone else is desperately weeping for. Sow your seed with deep, unshakable faith, and I will completely overwhelm your bank accounts, your career, and your family with my staggering, uncontainable favor. Do not hesitate. Hit the super thanks button, join the membership, or use the PayPal link in the description to launch this holy mission right now. Do not shut me out now. You fell on your knees and begged me for a real answer, and I am giving it to you in this exact moment. It brings tears to my eyes when you asked for a massive, life-altering miracle but refused to spare a few more minutes to actually receive my final instructions. Stay completely focused on me. The profound, beautiful transformation I am actively working inside your chest right now demands your absolute, unwavering presence until the very last word is spoken. You have heard my voice today, gently pulling you out of the loud, crushing chaos and directly into my quiet, perfect peace. Do not walk away from this sacred room and immediately slip back into the heavy, cold chains of your daily worry. I invite you to firmly seal this moment right now, to boldly draw a line in the sand and declare that your exhausting days of fearful striving are completely over. If you are truly ready to drop your heavy burdens and completely trust my flawless timing, declare it right now in the comments by typing, "Lord, I stop striving, and I surrender it all to you." Write it as your personal vow. Speak it boldly into the atmosphere, and watch as I immediately flood your tired, beautiful soul with an unshakable peace that the dark world can never, ever steal. Amen.